Park. Did you see that coming from Denton Ryan?
I didn't. Watching, I haven't played Cedar Park. I knew that they were going to be very, very good. They go for two. They do a great job. I was a little worried about watching them versus Denton Ryan because I knew Denton Ryan offensively were very powerful, and I thought the D-line was going to give the offensive line of Cedar Park a little bit of trouble, which they did. And once they got Ryder Hernandez off kilter, and they did some things they don't normally do, right, which was turn the ball over. When they turned the ball through the two picks and then had the fumble recovery, it's just kind of a snowball downhill for them. I don't think they faced adversity like that all season. They didn't throw a pick until they played us in round 2,
Yeah,
so
that's what Coach Williams said. I didn't realize
awesome was that.
Crazy.
And then to throw 2 in that championship game.
2 more and 2 fumbles.
Yeah, it just, hats off to Cedar Park. Great season. I love what they do. But it looked like Denton Ryan was finally due one,
Yeah.
Yes.
And 89-10 or something like that in 7 years. Coach Hennigan or whatever is gone. So hats off to them. Congratulations.
Wow. Yeah, well, and that was their mission last year. That was their, losing to Shadow Creek, and they said, we want to come back, and we want to finish the job, and they did that in full stride.
I can relate to that, losing to Shadow Creek and wanting to come back and finish the job. I can relate to that. They did a better job than we could ever do, I guess. But, hats off. It was fun to watch for, 2.5 quarters or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Coach Williams, how would you? What were some of your takeaways from yesterday?
Just the favorites. The favorites going into the game end up winning. In the morning game, Alito had 10 championships. What else can you say about that? It's an incredible program.
One for every finger.
Yeah, one for every finger. One of the top programs in the state, in the country. Year in and year out, and it was well earned, well deserved. Hats off to those guys. And again, Denton Ryan. That says a lot. You come the year before and you can't get it done, but you're rally the troops together, have a good off season, and deal with the adversity of COVID, and come back and able to get the championship the next day. And again, like Shaun said, to beat a great team like Cedar Park is impressive the way they did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this one's Katy Cedar Hill. They've met here before in the state finals. Scott, I think it was 2013, 2014. Is that correct?
2013 and 2014, 6A, or I guess that was 5A at the time.
Yes.
2013, then they created 6A in 2014. D2 in both times. Cedar Hill got the best of those matchups.
They did.
And then Katy went back for a third year in a row in 2015 and won. So, but as it currently stands, Cedar Hill, they got the edge at 2-0 in the all-time record. Pretty crazy.
That's right. That's probably one of the few teams that have that record versus Katy. It's such a dominant program, and Coach Joseph at Katy, everybody knows what he does year in and year out with those guys, and they don't always have the most talented kids, but they coach them up very well. They make them very disciplined, and they execute a team philosophy and a team game plan for what they want to do and how they win games. They've been doing it for many, many years.
Yeah, I think he sets the standard for sure. I mean, I've talked to Coach Joseph many times and been to their practices, and they do such a great job year in and year out. I know Coach said that maybe not the most talented players, but man, they got a bunch of good ones. They do. Some really, really, really talented players, and I think Katy ISD does a great job of setting them up for success, just like all their programs. Facility wise, and allowing them to do things that are on the cusp of keeping it going. So hats off to Coach Joseph and the Katy Tigers, and rooting for them today.
Yeah. From a coach's perspective, how hard is that to have, because with high school and, at the college level as well, you get turnover. These kids are not in your program forever. You can't sign them to contracts and make them stay around. So how hard is that to have continued success year after year?
The hardest part of it all, and I think Coach Williams can attest to this, the easy part of it is creating the culture, building the culture. That's the easy part of it. The hard part is maintaining it. Because it does change year to year.
Right.
And so what they've been able to do at Katy High School, I don't think can be replicated anywhere else. Because you could pluck a coach from there, you could pluck kids from there, and it not be the same.
Right. You can't steal the culture.
No, you can't steal it. So it's ingrained, and I don't want to be the one that follows Coach Joseph.
Right.
So hopefully somebody on that staff will, or someone that has ties to it. But, it is super hard, and that's a testament to their processes and what they do there because it can't be replicated.
Yeah, and when you're dealing with that culture as well, sometimes it's part of growing up, sometimes kids feel entitled, or they feel like, hey, we're going to automatically come up and win state championships, so maybe I'm not going to work as hard, or maybe I'm not going to, and you have to keep that culture going. You have to keep that, intensity going on a daily basis. And like you said, what Coach Joseph has done at Katy is to be commended.
Absolutely. And we talked about the culture at Katy and just saw some clips there of the Davis brothers, the powerful run game that I think Katy is typically known for. They've done such a great job this year of kind of continuing that tradition. Certainly will be very fun to watch today.
Yeah, they do a great job. The power run game, I'm telling you, their bootlegs and play action passes and the way they throw them comebacks, it really gets people off kilter a little bit. So it'd be interesting to see how they put it all together. They're going to attack you with the run. Everybody knows that. But that guy can throw the ball, and they can catch it too. But I'm telling you, the defense is going to put them in position.
About to say, they got some ball players on the defense side.
Everybody in the Houston area tries to run a version of Katy's defense, trust me. And all of KDISD almost runs it. Exactly. We've even dabbled in it a little bit. It's what they do is sound. It's easy. A lot of great checks. And those kids grew up playing it, so they know it inside and out. So it's always a challenge.
Can you just for maybe someone who isn't maybe familiar with their defense kind of explain why it's so good, why it's so potent, why it can be used to stop so many great offenses?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. No, I'm just kidding. Well, first of all, I think they do a great job coaching it and teaching it. And second of all, they always have some great D linemen. They have some great D linemen, and they're able to play multiple positions along the line, different techniques. They can get in a 3 down, they can get in a 4 down. And really what separates them, too, is that they have some really great safeties. And so they're able to play some off-man coverage, play some zone, but their safeties are heavily involved in the run game, and those are hard to find. Like the Wilder kid and a couple other kids they've had, they really will cover you and be able to make checks and get into the box, which is their secondary run support is awesome. So they do a great job of what we call fitting. So they all know where to fit perfectly almost every play because they just seem to rep it. It's not super hard. It's about alignment and then assignment, and then they do a great job of playing ball.
It's built on discipline, built on fundamentals, and those guys do a tremendous job of getting that. Like just Coach said, they fit the right way. And one thing that's people don't really necessarily realize from the outside in, but they don't miss tackles. They're very good at tackling. They're very good in open field tackling, and they get their hands on you and they bring you to the ground. And again, it's a system that's been run year in and year out. And yesterday, Shaun made the comment about offenses, how they could run a certain pass and play, but then tweak it by one route. It looks completely different to the opponent, but to them, it's just a quick adjustment. But same thing they do with their defense. Their secondary coverages, they'll 1 week play a certain way, but then the next week they'll play a completely different way. But to the kids, it's very minor changes, but to the outside looking in, it looks completely different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we got Katy in the Stormtrooper white, if you will, repping those jerseys. Cedar Hill in the all red. Guess you kind of had to. They're both the same color scheme.
I love it.
Completely different
go to work.
Here.
Right.
On Cedar Hill, too, you got the quarterback, Caden Salter, who's committed to Tennessee. Yep. And he'll probably be on campus later this week at the University of Tennessee, which is crazy to think about, that we're playing football on January 16th as the kickoff is underway. And
Cedar Hill gets the ball.
I'm excited.
So Katy will get the ball at half. Cedar Hill's going to start off with the ball here real quick. Let's get some picks going, Scott.
Yeah.
Who you got?
In the pre-show earlier this week, I picked Cedar Hill. Man, it's tough to pick against Katy, but I'm going to go with Cedar Hill, I think, for this one. It's going to be a dogfight, I think.
Okay. Coach McDowell?
I love me some Katy Tigers and Coach Joseph. So I love Carlos Lynn too, don't get me wrong, but I got to go with the Tigers here on this.
Got to go with the Tigers. Coach Williams.
I'll kind of agree with Coach McDowell. When you talk about football, you talk about doing it the right way. You always start with talk about discipline and fundamentals, and same thing we try to replicate at Marshall, and I think Katy's the epitome of that. So I think that they'll Cedar Hill, like it's Coach Lynn, does a tremendous job as well at Cedar Hill. Those guys are very athletic. They're wide open right now. Second play of the game, they're in quads.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go to work.
So they're going to put their athletes in space. Right now, quarterback's got the ball and he's made a guy miss. Right, make 2 guys miss.
We had talked about this yesterday too. An athletic quarterback spreading out and being an athletic quarterback that can run does give Katy's defense a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, you look at Jalen Milrow over at Tompkins, giving them their first loss. Athletic quarterback headed to Alabama.
Yes.
We'll see. to Katy's point, I mean, you got Bobby Taylor and Honey Washington, both top recruits in the area. We'll see how they handle, and also Shepherd Bowling, Dalton Johnson. Like, man, I'm pumped.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Shout out to AJ Blum too on Katy's defensive line coach. You know, was at Westfield and at U of H for many years, and so they do a great job.
Well, they're certainly doing work here early. I mean, great run stop there, and I mean, we're off and away already, looking very competitive. And that's what you want. You don't want one team to come out and all of a sudden take dominance over the game. Hopefully we can get some exciting matchups here today. For the record, I had no idea who I was going to pick going into this.
Oh, yeah. Who you got?
I'm going to regret this, but I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to say Cedar Hill.
Okay.
I feel very upset that we're both picking against the coaches. That seems like bad.
We'll see how good we are. We'll see how good we are.
That seems like a bad omen that we're picking against the coaches.
Hey, that's all right. I got a stands full of them every game. So.
Yeah, well.
Well, we'll see. And actually, another thing, and we're biased. Shaun and I, we're Houston, so we're gonna root for the Houston team. We're gonna see if they can get it done.
Well, they're showing some stats from Caden Salter for his 5 playoff games. He's been playing really great here in the playoffs, and just doing a really good job leading this team.
Empty formation. He's wide open for a first down. It's a big third down. We talked about it yesterday. Starting off the open drive of the game, especially state championship game, you want to just run your offense and move the chains, and that was a big 3rd and 9. He was wide open and wasn't able to bring it in. So now Katy gets the ball.
Yeah, and you got to make a play like that, to be honest with you. I'd be a little bit upset, but I get it. Big game jitters maybe a little bit. That's probably a catch he's made 1,000 times.
Right.
You got to make that in this game. Especially against a team like Katy, because they are going to be a little bit run dominant and ball control. So they might not get the ball back this half. Or this quarter. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
lucky to get that punt away. The snap was a little high but a heck of a punt.
Ball's rolling to the
great punt down at the 3-yard line. So Katy will take over deep in their own zone. But competitive early.
I got a question for the coaches here, and Coach Williams, we'll start with you.
Sure.
I feel like a lot of football programs and whatnot, it's a lot about routine. You get in the habit of, kind of like we were joking earlier, what do you do for pregame meals yesterday and whatnot. Right. Is it any different, though, because you're used to playing on Friday night in the Friday Night Lights, playing at a 1 o'clock game? Is that harder, or is it any different getting your team ready for a game like that? Just with the time difference?
I wouldn't say harder would be the word to use. It's definitely different. Most of our games are in the evening. For us, even if we're playing in town, for a 1 o'clock game, you're getting your team up early. It's up to the field house, and those guys are waking up at 6 a.m. and 5:30 or sooner getting up there. But but you're motivated to play that football game. Our guys shouldn't be waking up tired and groggy. They should be getting excited to get up and play that game. So it's a different environment, but it's not anything that should be a problem for your team to do.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine that, I know when we start planning and looking at projecting weeks and when we play, like if we know we were going to play Saturday at 1 for the state championship, probably the previous 2 weeks, they're also going to play Saturday at 1. Does that make sense? So I know that they played Hayes in the afternoon, right? They played, Shadow Creek on a Saturday in the afternoon, I believe. So it's been set up to be able to get into that routine, right? And so at least all the good ones do. That's what they tell me, to get in the routine. So, but yeah, I imagine because you do have to get a routine because it's a different thing when you're going to experience in the district play, and when you get to the playoffs, you start planning that. So I'm pretty sure that if you look back at their schedule, they've played some Saturday afternoon games to prepare for this moment here.
Yeah. Well, and I think, the good news, too, is it's not hard to get up for the state championship.
Absolutely not.
I mean, you wake up and you're pumped and you're ready to go. It doesn't matter if you're playing it.
It's probably hard to sleep the night before.
I would imagine.
Definitely. You're excited, especially when, like I said, when we were fortunate last 2 years ago, we went to the evening game before us. And to get in that stadium and see the lights and see everything and the big screen, you're excited. You're ready to go, and the guys get pumped up that night, ready to go. So, it's definitely not a motivation issue when you're playing for a state championship and being able to play in this beautiful building right there.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, starting off, you can see Katy has the ball now.
Hey, you see the guy? See the corner route by the tight end?
Wide open.
They wide open. He didn't see him. Yeah. But it's coming. They're coming back to it, I promise.
You can see the stark contrast in the offenses right there. Cedar Hill came out and spread, empty, quads,
wide open.
Right.
You see it?
Yeah, and now Katy's power football.
There it is.
Wide open side for a touchdown.
Second.
I'd just like to say the speed at which you recognize that is so impressive.
Oh, well. Hey.
It's almost like you do this for a living.
Nah, I don't know what I do sometimes.
Oh, well.
He's had a lot of wide open receivers in his day.
Yeah.
That offense at Foster, they do a good job.
That's a good third down conversion by Katy.
Power
I think
running.
part of it, too, is, Caleb Klober, he had to come in the middle of the season and step in for Katy with what was going on with that program. So he's a sophomore. He's definitely developed. Coach Joseph was telling us earlier this week, he's getting better every single week, and that's what you want.
Right.
But, definitely. I don't know if they'll look back on the tape and be like kind of kicking yourself a little bit, but it's still really early. You
Absolutely.
can't-
Yeah.
But like I
got a lot of
said,
ball
this
game
is their
left.
second first down.
But I tell you what, they're rolling.
They are.
Yes.
This is what they want to do. I mean, take shots on second and short. Take shots on
that's
first
not
down.
good.
That is going to be a flag.
He's out of the pocket, right?
No, I think he's intentional grounding because it didn't get past
get
the
to
line of
the line.
scrimmage.
Line of scrimmage, yeah.
Yep.
Offensive.
They're gonna bootleg you, play action pass on first down. They're gonna take shots on second and short if they get it. You got to be able to defend the power run game. They get safeties in. They're just gonna lull you to sleep, and then they're gonna get 4, 5, 6, 7 yards of carry, and then by third quarter it's gonna be 10 to 12.
Right. It's very difficult to defend that over the course of a long game, especially if you're not used to defending that over the course of a long game.
Because it's the 2020 football game, and for a long while now, again, like we said earlier, it's been spread, but you can't forget about the line of scrimmage is most important. Even though you're spreading the ball out, you still have to be able to control the line. On both sides of the ball, you have to be able to control the line of scrimmage.
Well, and that was the huge difference between Denton Ryan and Cedar Park last night was the lines. I mean, Ryan was rushing 3, maybe 4, but they were getting pushed when they would bring 3 guys.
Yeah.
And when that's happening, I mean, you're already in the hole.
That's tough because you're dropping 8 back in coverage. That's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, shout out to Jason on the chat here. He's listening to us. He's having trouble watching the game, so he's tuning to our commentary instead. So thanks, Jason, for tuning in.
Hey, what's up?
Isn't everyone that doesn't have Xfinity or Dish because of the deal with Fox Sports and group?
Yep. That's right.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're watching on Fox Sports, you're not getting 2 coaches. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Only here at
Someone's
VYPE
listening to
Media
this.
are you getting some talented coaches.
Yeah, the detail. Oh, this is a big third down 22. This is,
right here.
This is out of Katy's comfort zone. This is not what they work on a lot, and I don't know how many plays they have drawn up for 3rd and 22, but we'll see.
Oh, and looks like they got hit with
I
a false
always ask
start.
you, if we get something like this, I'm always asking my coaches, hey, what play goes for 22 here? What play? Because I don't have one.
Right.
Yeah, what
Do you think players not plays? To be honest with you, depends on where you are on the field. You can say, hey, we can get half of this and then go for it on 4th down, But really, it's about like, hey, let's not screw this up so we can punt. Because you always want to end with some sort of kick, right? Field goal, extra point, or a punt. Punting is okay. I know Coach McKay at Side Creek would probably disagree with me on that, but I don't mind punting.
Is it sometimes, depending on the field position, let's just not turn it over as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they might hit a run here to try to get a little bit, get it out of their end zone.
Right.
You want a safe play, but
But even even here, a draw gains
almost first
22,
20-yard
almost,
gain.
Yeah, I mean, and so that I think that's so useful right there. You just like you said, you don't have to just give up and accept that you're going to punt the ball, but you don't want to do something that's going to put you in a bad position to where you're going to turn the ball over or you're going to get backed up even more. Now you have to punt from the end zone.
Right.
Don't want to do anything, make any silly mistakes.
Yeah, I know when I was a defensive guy way back in the day, 3rd and long is a pass, draw,
You know what defense
screen.
is?
I think so. I study them all the time. I know that. Pass, draw, screen, right? So right there we just saw a draw, right? But it's a pass, draw, screen time. So I don't know. We'll see. Sometimes somebody like Katy will run a trap down your throat, and next thing you know, it's 1st down because – you got some D linemen aren't used to getting trapped. So
I tell you what, on the defensive side of the ball, for that is the most just debilitating thing when you have them backed up where you want them to be is 3rd and 20, and somehow they bust a draw for 1st down or a screen for 1st down.
What does that do to the psyche of both the players and to the play call? I mean, how do you recover from that?
I mean, I tell you, for perfect example is when we played in the 1st round this year, we played Port Neches Groves, and they gave us a great game, and their whole game plan going into the game was to hold the ball, run the clock, and not get our offense a chance to get on the ball and score a lot of points. And they did a great job of that. And couple times in the second half, final score was 21-14. I mean, it was a nail biter. Right. And in the 4th quarter, we're trying to get them off the field, and we had them at one time. It was 3rd, and it might have been exactly 3rd and 22, and they converted. They ran a wheel route, and the guy made an incredible one-handed catch and converted. It's like, oh my gosh, what do we have to do to get out this field? It's tough.
Sometimes they call a great play. Sometimes the defense steps up. I mean, it is what it is.
That's right.
You just can't relax on 3rd and long, because I know I look at my defense coordinator, Shane Hanks, sometimes. I'm like, really? Come on, man. He's like looking at me like, hey. Shout out to Coach Hanks, but no, it happens,
It does.
It's not a give-up play, that's for sure. Not a give-up down.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And like I said, just right there, Katy went for a 25-yard gain, close to getting that first down right there.
Very close.
Yeah, and made Cedar Hill burn a timeout because it didn't seem like they were ready for it, or kicking, not kicking. So I know it's still the first half, but I feel like in the state championship game, you want to hang on to those timeouts as long as possible, really, in any game for that matter.
Precious.
And in this situation, I mean, it's early in the game, very early in the game. Katy's on their half of the field. But it is 4th and short. Are you even thinking about going for it? Or are you just thinking, I'm going to punt, I'm going to play field position?
I think early, for me, like I said yesterday, I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat, and I like to play the numbers game. Like I asked Coach, hey, what's the book say, right? The book says to punt, my God, we're going to punt. Right? But, you look at statistics, it might be better to keep your best 11 on and try to get, you talk to the guy up in Arkansas, he'll say never punt and always go for it, percentages-wise. But I still think punting, playing defense is way the name of the game because of field position-wise, so.
Gary Joseph, a big name in Texas high school football.
Right.
Lore. Y'all probably seen him enough. What do you think his own personal philosophy is on that? Does he usually go for it in cases like this, or do you think he's more conservative?
I couldn't speak for him, but I would probably say he's probably going to punt. He punted in here.
Because you're still on the other side of your side of
it. And he's been here before, so he's coached longer than I think Coach Williams and I both have.
Together,
so, I mean,
no, they're on that looks like the minus 38-yard line. So you want to punt the ball because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you back your defense up and you get hurt. Katy has been known for years to play tremendous defense, and if you have a defense like that, then you want to go ahead and punt the ball and play defense. And now if you
make
can
him drive the field, right?
You make him drive the field because I love statistics. And you think about statistics, it's very rare for a team to be able to run the ball or be able to drive the ball 70, 80 yards downfield without making a mistake. That will back them up and get them into a 3rd and long situation. So if you have a good defense, you want to keep them always in a good situation because if Katy punts the ball right here and then stops them on 3 and out, then Katy gets the ball with better field position for the next drive. So you want to think ahead of it.
Well, and you just mentioned, obviously you want to play, whatever you think your best chance, whatever the statistics say for you. I mean, if you really felt like sticking your best 11 on the field and trying to go for it there was the best decision, then more power to you to do that. But I mean, I think they made what would everyone consider the right decision to punt the ball there.
Right.
Yep.
So, Cedar Hill getting the ball back, possession number 2. Is there anything that you think maybe they didn't go to on their first possession that you would look to here? Or
probably a little bit more spread, a little bit more quarterback run out of that spread look, get back into empty your quads.
Quads again.
You know what I'm saying? So
first play. Quarterback run right here though. Probably.
Any type of out routes if you get into quads and out route by number 4 or number 3, trying to get them to plus over and get them unbalanced a little bit, because if you get stand up in 2x2 or anything like that, they're going to be good in that. But you got to get him in a 3x1, 4x none formations. What I mean, and then.
That's good, Shaun. Hold on, say that again one time. I'm taking notes over here, man. Hold on, what? You said number 4 in the out route?
Yeah.
Oh, is that a five?
That's
don't know if that's a fumble or.
I think it's probably an incomplete pass, right?
It looked very bang.
Cedar Hill threw the ball, and Katy had a great hit.
Katy
and
gets
knocked the ball out.
Haven't seen. It was a quick.
Be honest with you, it's really hard to run a quick pass on these guys because they're going to trigger so hard, and they don't drop. They kind of flat foot read a little bit with their secondary. Yeah. So they're going to be right there.
Slow motion. Oh, that's the catch.
That's got to be a catch.
That's a catch. Fumble. Looks like Katy has the ball.
Wow.
We'll see what the officials say. And they have replay in the state championship game, so we'll get the officials looking at it.
I think it's the right call. Like, I mean, because we see in the NFL, if it's closed, the refs will generally let it play out. So, this is where it's a good case where I'm glad they have instant replay on TV.
I was going to say, what's y'all's opinion on that, about having replay in the championship game? Obviously, you don't have it for the rest of the season. What's the kind of opinion on that?
I mean, I personally love it. I mean, it's an important game. Obviously, the most important game in the year. But if the plays made, give the credit to the guy. And you hate for a mistake. And again, nothing against officials. Nobody's perfect, and nobody's going to always make the perfect call. But if he made a great tackle right there, punched the ball out. So you want him to get the credit for that. They want their team to get the credit for that.
I agree. I wish it was available, in every game.
Yeah.
But that's just literally impossible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it might be coming if we got, live stream of almost every game this year. Yeah. So maybe it changes, but I don't think that's going to continue on either. So
and certainly maybe it would be coming at the higher levels, the 5A, 6A levels at some point. Would you? I mean, do you think UIL might consider that maybe we try it out at the highest levels, and if it works, maybe we can translate it down?
wouldn't be opposed to it as long as they put restrictions on it, like kind of like the NFL. You can challenge this, but if you that kind of stuff where you not, because you can challenge it like almost every play in high school football, because
right.
you know what I'm saying, like, but the obvious ones, there's a couple of times where like, man, I know that was a touchdown and he didn't step out the one, that kind of stuff.
Well, the biggest issue you have with there is just the manpower and the equipment power to actually have. You hire people to be in the press box and have a video monitor and to do that for every single game. Well, that'll be the biggest issue. A lot of games.
And quality of video. I mean, obviously, you see it even in the NFL. There are times when they don't have the right shot or the right camera's not in the right shot. And that's the
NFL where they're ready for that.
Right, exactly.
Hard to tell from a bird's eye view from the press box if you're just live streaming it. Sure. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. But, I mean, it is pretty impressive how often the officials do get it right, considering how often bang, the plays are. Yeah.
And they got 7 officials on the field. You mean to tell me only one saw that? That's what I'm saying. Like, we keep adding officials, so we either need to add officials or add Eastern Rim play.
Incomplete pass.
Called it incomplete.
Wow. So Cedar Hill keeps the ball.
Wow.
I guess he didn't make a quote unquote football move, right? I don't know what that means.
What's your
the Calvin Johnson rule?
Being an offensive guy, right? What's your kind of, if you're on the field, you're calling the game. What are you looking for to say, okay, this is a catch or this isn't a catch?
Me would be like extension of the hands, a tuck, and then a turn. Okay. Right? You know what I'm saying? Because you could catch it, tuck it, and then you could lose it then. That's still not a catch as it goes through your hands. So I can see why they wouldn't call that a catch.
Right.
Because he really didn't make a football move with it. He kind of maybe you took your eyes off it. It's kind of like you got to look it in and, tuck it.
I could definitely see both sides. I'm still fairly surprised they called that incomplete.
Yeah. It looked like he got 2 feet down and actually tried to make a turn to run the ball after he caught it, but it was close. I mean, it could really go either way. It's close. But right now, Cedar Hill has the ball again. They're on the plus side of the 50-yard line, 2nd and 10.
See, in this formation right here, see how they bring the corner over and the 2 safeties over? So it's really 3-on-3, and they use that outside linebacker to split the difference between the tackle and the slot receiver, the most inside slot receiver. Mm-hmm. So like an out route, you block up number 1, 2, and you go out route by 3. You got them all day, really.
Oh, wow! Look at this play. Look at this play.
Oh man,
how is that legal?
And that's why they do it, because the only guy over there is the corner, and they're pretty much manned up on the corner there. So
you got guards and tackles pulling, the quarterback's running almost like an option, and he's throwing the ball down the field all in one play. My goodness, that's a good design. I mean, the guy was open.
You run a corner route there instead of a go, you probably got him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great job by 43 coming over the top, though.
Yeah. Just to make him hear footsteps and make him know somebody's coming.
Yeah, no, that's really risky, coming off of that 2nd and 10 and then along. So good job by Cedar Hill, get them off their toes a little bit.
Thank you, Deuce 48. He says he appreciates coverage.
Yeah.
Glad you're watching, man. Glad you're here.
Big play.
Coverage. Mark, the coaches picked Katy. The VYPE guys picked Cedar Hill. So it's tied at 0, though. 4th down. I mean, big stop there, I think, by the Katy defense. It seemed like Cedar Hill was almost getting bailed out when they reversed the turnover. So, Katy defense holding strong so far.
That's like 3 passes in a row there, too. So, I don't know if they're abandoning the run game, but I'd tell you they're trying to soften the defense up a little bit, but Katy's used to that.
I don't know if has Cedar Hill's running back carried the ball yet. I know the quarterback is running the ball, but I don't know if the actual running back from Cedar Hill has run the ball yet.
The one thing Katy does really well defensively is that their numbers, they always +1 seems to be on you. So, that's why you always want to be sort of not in an even balanced formation, because they will +1 you, and you got guys you physically block every time, You got 3 blockers, they got 4 defenders,
All right, but it's midway through the first quarter, 0-0.
Game.
Yeah, great game thus far. I mean, I would say of the 4 games we've done a watch along for,
This is the best one.
The fifth one. This is easily the best.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
close. Remember yesterday with
close in the
Alito,
first
it was
quarter.
14-14 at one point. They were
Right.
going back and forth in the first half. First
Second quarter
yeah.
when it kind of got out of hand.
It got out of hand, right?
But guys like me who enjoy defense, I'll take it. I'll take it. Both sides playing
No, it
well
was
and
a
making
good
plays.
game. It
Well,
was
I
a good
think
game.
there's a lot to be said. I think maybe people don't like defense because maybe they don't understand it. Because I think just from being even a casual football fan, I think offense it's flashy, it's exciting.
Sure.
But especially as we've gotten into this modern era football, trying to stay healthy and trying to keep people safe, big hits, stuff like that is kind of being frowned upon and even being kind of outlawed at some point. So I think people maybe don't understand defense, and so maybe they can't fully enjoy it while it's happening.
Yeah, you don't see those big hit videos anymore like you used to.
Right.
Those-
He just got.
So you can't. They get. You
on-
can't. You know what I mean? Like NFL's greatest hits, they all be flagged for targeting and
Right,
fined
that's true.
for $25,000.
It's honestly amazing. You watch some of those, highlight videos, like you said, from the 70s and the 80s.
Ronnie
It's
Lott.
amazing more of those people didn't
John
die
Lynch
in
just
games.
straight
there's
Yes,
big hits
yes,
going on.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even thinking about this year in the semifinal game, Clemson versus Ohio
Yeah.
State. The Clemson linebacker got
Yes.
disqualified. And by the book, yes, that is a illegal hit. But I don't like the rule.
I'm
I
with
mean,
that.
it's just,
Personal foul, I understand. Maybe if you get 2 hits like that, then
Right.
you can put them out of game. But yeah, it's the national championship game or
Right, they're-
important games like that. You shouldn't get the
Especially if it's like bang bang like that play was.
Right.
It's so quick. I mean, you only have a little bit of reaction. We do wear a helmet for a reason. No, it's not. It's to protect your skull, right? Not to protect from concussion.
It doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be a weapon
Right.
necessarily,
Right.
but
you don't pull an Andre Johnson on Cortland Finnegan. Remember? Like that.
Now, let me ask you, Shaun, if I could ask you,
Yeah.
have you have young kids, you have a son, have you thought about anything with him football-wise or holding him out a little bit longer before he plays, or have you handled that with your son?
Nah, man. My son started playing football and he was like a tackle football and he was like 9 or 10. So he's been playing a while. Now he's in 7th grade. We started early. He wanted to. I think it's always good to get into the game of football. I think they need to be taught the proper mechanics. When I used to do USA football stuff, we would go around and teach youth coaches how to tackle with, we taught them hawk tackling, believe it or not, for a while there. And, just proper techniques of, with feet and the shoulder tackle for a long, long time. Rugby has done a great job with it,
Yes.
and really our games are so similar, but the difference between us and rugby is that we have, the helmet,
Right.
which does allow you to kind of want to stick your face in there a little bit
right,
more,
you've got the big shoulder pads and the helmet, and so you really feel like, okay, I could go lay the boom on this guy.
Right.
Whereas, in rugby, you almost kind of have to think about, if I go hit this guy hard, I mean, I'm not wearing much
I do believe
protection either.
the game of football has never been safer. For that reason alone, because of the technology of helmets, shoulder pads, and just overall coaching and training and starting at the youth level. Now, I know that they're doing a lot more flag football and kind of rearing it up that way.
Yes.
But I do think, I don't want to say football's under attack or anything like that. It is a concern for parents for the injuries and the stuff that goes along with playing football. But man, there's nothing game just like it,
Absolutely.
So like I tell you, I mean, you can get a concussion and stuff playing baseball. I've seen it in basketball too,
And
girls soccer.
As
I mean,
one of the highest, yes.
hockey, all that stuff. But as long as proper techniques are followed, kids are bigger and stronger faster today. But the technology and the coaching has never been better.
Well, and you kind of mentioned a little bit as Katy gets a nice little first down pass
37,
there.
yeah.
Yep. You mentioned a little bit too. I mean, the athletic training staffs have probably never been better trained on, different techniques and, for different injuries and whatnot. And obviously we're paying more attention now to concussions probably than we ever have. And, trying to make sure these kids are staying safe, because you talk about a professional athlete. I mean, they're getting paid millions of dollars. They can take, their health into their own hands, but 17, 18-year-old kids, I think we have done a good job to minimize the dangers of a fairly dangerous game at times.
Yeah, football's a violent game.
It's a collision sport. People think it's a contact sport. No, basketball is a contact sport. Right. Football is a collision sport. So and that's why we wear the mouthpieces and wear the helmets and the shoulder pads and all the different stuff to protect. But at the end of the day, it's still blocking and tackling. Yeah.
Right.
And the reason things have gone up because kids and players today have never been bigger or stronger than they are today.
Right.
And with the training staff, the nutrition, and all that stuff that goes along being a great football player. And they're not playing. You're not seeing that many kids or programs play like Katy Tigers are doing, like with a tight end with a fullback playing in tight quarters. Yeah. Like for me, you're going to have to defend sideline to sideline. So I've got big, strong, fast kids on the edge running fast against your kids running fast. So more momentum. It's just physics, right? Faster kid, more power. It's going to be a harder collision. So, that's why.
Right.
And and the AstroTurf does not forgive like a grass field does.
Grass does.
Right. So
that's an interesting take. Actually, that's very true.
Ooh, sprint draw.
Nice.
There it is.
Nice big game. Second and
there's some of that too. Is a concussion of hitting your head on the ground while you're making a tackle.
Right.
So. Yeah.
You look at the NFL game and just the injury list and those guys. That's tough. Those guys are so big and so fast. I mean, you talk about a collision sport. It's impressive to watch those guys play and. They have some have long careers, but when they're done, their bodies with 60-year-olds because they take so much of a pounding. And you like it how you like it how in practice if you pay attention to the NFL practice or able to watch one, a lot of times they're not in pads for most of the year because it's such a violent game.
Right. We actually got a question from the chat section here for the coaches. Do you think DFW can sweep the 5 and 6A state champions this week?
I don't think so. I think
the two more remaining are Katy and Westlake have a chance to beat Cedar Hill and Southlake.
I don't.
I think Katy will have the. I mean, right now it's 0-0. Both teams are playing really good.
And Katy's really putting the gas on.
Yeah, they can't. They can't defend the power right
now.
They're
really putting the hammer down on
there
the
it is
run
again.
Right now.
This is smash mouth downhill football.
I stopped that one. So oops.
Yeah.
I mean, anything can happen. Absolutely. I mean, it can be a sweep.
To be honest with you, I think they go 0 for 2 today.
Yeah.
I don't see Southlake winning. I think Austin Westlake is going to handle that business pretty good, and I think Katy is going to win out on this one. Yeah.
So to answer the question, no, they do not think
they won last night. They won last night.
Yes, Friday was their day.
Right. Yeah, thank you for the question in the chat section here. If you have any more, let us know what you think. Jason, I agree. The Chaps defense was for real. I mean, they held North Shore to 21 points. That's pretty impressive. So. But Katy, though, they put up 63 last week, even with this more traditional power style. I don't care who you were playing against, 63 is a lot of points. So, I mean, Katy offense is different, but still very explosive.
Yeah, I think that's the misnomer on a run-based team. Like, you can't be explosive. I can throw the ball 60 yards for a touchdown, and they can run the ball for a 60 yard for a touchdown. It's still a touchdown, and it's still 60 yards.
Well, and too, when you run the ball and you set up the defense for a play-action pass, for some sort of trick play or something to you put their eyes in the backfield, and then you can get a guy downfield quick.
Right.
Like this, Katy running up there.
Right here. Wide open again, Shaun.
I was coming. I told you it was coming.
Talking about when you run the ball hard and you have to make the defense commit to being inside and being near the line of scrimmage, you get plays like this where you can get a guy open down the field, and I mean
that's just the case right there. Eyes wandering. If you look at the DB right there,
he's got him.
He's supposed to have him, but his eyes are in the backfield because they've been running the ball so well.
Expecting a little pass out to the running back going.
He's probably looking at his buddy, but like, I thought you had him. No, I thought you had him. And that's what you want.
Yeah. As we talked about earlier, it's just a disciplined football game. You have to play discipline, especially in the state championship, to win this game. And that one slip right there is going to cost them a touchdown.
I bet you the OC went back into the quarterback. Because like you said, Coach McDowell, that was pretty much looked like the same play from earlier.
No, it was the exact same play as earlier.
Said, hey, look at the tight end. I bet you
he's coming. He's coming back to it. No, I'm not sure who their OC is, but that's a great play call because there it was earlier.
Yeah,
you see it? Yep.
And
so you got to be able to see that's just a great play call coming back to it.
Oh, that's the previous play that he was open.
Yeah, so there it is again.
The same play, and he's wide open again.
Yep. Yeah, don't worry. That's not the only time they're going to run that too.
No.
What's going to happen is that they're going to open up their run game now because that safety is going to be a little bit slower on that secondary run support.
Right.
So now could get ugly.
Yeah. Already.
Yeah,
but hey, if you with Cedar Hill, their offense scores a lot of points. They have a lot of athletes over there. They can, if they're able to just come back and say, okay, don't worry about that. We can drive down the field just like they did. We got to get the points on the board as well, and then hey, it's still a ball game.
And while Katy's defense is very, very good, I mean, Cedar Hill does have that type of offense that lends itself to big plays, spreading out the ball, confusing the defense. Maybe a corner safety gets confused in coverage or whatever, and then you got a guy wide open.
That's correct.
But you like to see them do the same thing. You like to see Cedar Hill try to establish a run game right now, try to do something on the line of scrimmage to the same thing that Katy did to them, and get those guys thinking about the run, playing a little bit more forward, a little bit more on the run, so they can get some of the guys open as well.
Well, and you don't want to get into a situation, too, where if you're Cedar Hill, you're scoring, quick scores, but then you're putting your defense right back on the field to have to go defend that run for even longer.
Right.
Like Shaun said earlier, those 3-yard runs in the first quarter, and the third quarter turns into 8-yard runs and 10-yard runs.
Next thing you know, man, dudes are.
Yeah. These kids are 17, 18 years old, but they are some big boys. They got big bodies out there on the field.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't get the state championship on accident.
No, you don't.
Absolutely not. Well, and like we said for the past couple of games, we talk about Crosby, talk about Cedar Park. They lost. They got to the state championship. Absolutely. I mean, whoever wins this game is going to be state champions, and huge congratulations. Whoever lost is still the second best team at this level in the state.
Absolutely, in the state. Oh, great defensive play right there. Just talked about running the ball. They did a toss.
Yeah, see, that's not gonna be the one right there because Shaun, to let you know that's not. I mean,
is that when you look at your play sheet, Shaun, and cross that one out?
Yeah, that one's out. I'd have crossed that out like Monday or Tuesday. Like, yeah, we ain't running that because the whole thing is that they outnumber you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't get to that inside backer who makes that play.
And it starts with the front, the defensive end.
Yeah, and he does a great job. I mean, you have to formation them. You got to really trying to spread them out. You got to find a way to either add one. So again, they went back to the spread. So look, throw it to the number 2 receiver up top right there. See,
he's wide open.
He's wide open. That's the only way. Or you get an athletic quarterback like that, but you got to spread them out. They're not going to cover down all of them, and you got to be okay with taking your 5 to 6 and then. Moving on, we'll try to move the chains.
And that's what Cedar Park was doing last night early when they were having success. They were finding those quick hit passes for 6 yards or so. And I think that they were, really looking for things 15, 20 yards downfield when they probably could have had just a ton of success getting the ball to quick passes and building that momentum, driving down the field.
So, look, again, they went empty. They had 3 receivers up to the top. Number 2 is open. They're 8 yards off. So if he runs a quick out right here, boom, it's done. But, again, they're having problems with protection. You know what I'm saying?
You can't just throw the ball
on the interception.
Throwing the ball off his back foot there.
He's scooting across the field. I like it, man. Like Katy got a little swag today. They're feeling it.
That's just that he put pressure on the quarterback. He threw it off his back.
You shouldn't have picked against them.
We should not have. I
told you.
It's not looking
I don't
good
mind
so far.
them being in empty. I think it's the right call, but he can't panic. And so he has got. They're gonna send 3, 4.
That's a good snap.
Great catch.
They're gonna be where they're supposed to be. Right, so I don't want to call them robots, but they're gonna be fitted up correctly.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to make sure your protection's right, and you got to be okay with taking the quick outs and marching down the field.
Right. You can't want to score a touchdown on every play.
Right.
And now Katy has the ball. We talked about field position earlier. Now they have the
go.
ball
Great
41-yard line, and
right.
And they're gonna do what Katy does. They're gonna come out right now, probably run on the first play, and let's see what happens. Got a counter. Pulling guard and tackle, and
so
gain
now
of 8 yards.
First and now So I would expect some type of play action pass, or coming at him right now. Or they might let the quarter go. I mean, it could be whatever.
Right.
It's just creating double teams up front. They got the gap scheme right there with the counter.
That's tough. It's tough to simulate in practice too.
Yeah.
What they do. They probably got Nerf balls where they're snapping because they've never been under center. So you don't screw up your own players doing this stuff. So it's tough, man. Hats off to Katy.
Yeah, that's the end of the first quarter. Katy leading it 7-0, and driving, looking for more.
Yeah, regardless of the outcome of this game, Katy probably needs to send a thank you note to Seven Lakes for sneaking in the playoffs.
Yeah,
because that propelled them to Division II, you know what I'm saying? So
they would have had another great Katy and North Shore matchup if they hadn't done that.
They weren't trying to do that, I don't think. Yeah. But hey, like I said, the road changes for everybody. I would be in favor of doing what they do with us in 5A, like they do in 6A. Just go ahead and split them.
from the very beginning of the season.
From the very jump.
Right, so you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is interesting. They
Yeah.
do that for 5A, but not for 6A, because
Right.
that 6A is kind of a crapshoot. Getting Katy in D2 this year would be nice to know going forward, kind of what you're up against.
Yeah.
Or get rid of it in 5A. I'm down with that too. You know?
I'm not trying to be in your district, no sir.
Come on,
I'm good. We're good.
Hey, come on, man.
Keep us in Foster separated. We're good.
Yeah, kick us to Region 4 too. How about that, huh? You know, but
How was that? You had that, what, 3 years ago? You guys were in Region 4?
2015, 2016, we were Region 4.
Driving
Yeah.
3 hours every game?
Shout out to Victoria, East and West, and Calhoun. Yeah,
What
it
does
was
that
fun.
do? Because, there's obviously here in Houston, you don't typically get that a ton because we have so many schools in such a small area. But there are parts of Texas where, you are traveling hours for games. What does that do to, your game prep, to your players, to your coaches when you have to travel 3-4 hours? For a game?
It takes a lot of logistics because you have to be able to plan for that.
Right.
Yeah. And I like to get to games 2 hours before, right? So if our game's at 7, I like to get there at 5.
Right.
So then you got to backtrack how long it's going to take us to get there.
Right.
Do we need to stop? So like when we played in San Antonio, bus trips make you sleepy, right? You know what I'm saying? So speaking from experience, like I'm out before we even get out of the school grounds, right? So you don't want your players groggy.
Right.
So like when we would play in San Antonio, we drive to, that Buc-ee's area, right? Luling. And we'd stop at the rest stop and we'd get out, walk around, go to the bathroom, take 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
And then get back on the bus
Just
and
to
ride
try
in.
and keep them fresh.
Get them up, get them walking, do it, all that kind of stuff so that we weren't on a bus for 3 hours and then expect to go play a game.
Right.
Right. So
And
it
that's
just
not
takes.
even that's not even including your sub varsity, because you got to play the night before. Sub varsity got to make that drive
So
too.
what was interesting on the sub varsity, like if you play, like we played Victoria, they would send and we were going to Victoria, then Victoria would send all their sub varsities to Foster to play, so that you're not traveling 2 times at night in a row. Does that make sense? And I think they're used to
That's
it.
a
They
great
got
idea.
They got a so we would play 3 games, 3
a
sub
great
varsity
idea.
games, 2 freshmen and a JV or whatever on that. So those South Texas guys and those West Texas guys, they got it figured out.
Right.
As
they-
far
yeah.
as
They know.
playing sub varsity on a Saturday morning or playing it Thursday night, and then you alternate sites.
Right.
So they got it figured out, and it was a new world for us. We enjoyed Region 4, but it is cool to travel, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. So,
Yeah.
it is cool to get on a bus or get on a charter. Because you do, if you're playing at Mercer all the time, you're playing at Rhodes or Trailer every game, 9 games, it can get a little boring. But it's cool to go see other people and how they live.
I'm sure it's good. It's a good. Obviously, it's good team building. It gets the team together for even more time. You get them in a tight space, and they get to interact with each other.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of Friday Night Lights too, like legit Friday
Right.
Night Lights, as far as traveling, going on Friday night, seeing how they they do things. And
Big play action right there off the
second
run.
and 2, what I tell you, 2nd and 2, here comes a play action pass because they're gonna get 3 yards. If they don't get it, they're gonna come at you,
Right.
on 3rd
Right.
down. But now,
and now
faking the
they're
stretch, coming out.
first and goal
Nice
down
pivot.
at the 3 or 4 yard line.
Good
and-
easy passes, I think, for the quarterback too. Like guys are really open. The play action, I feel like it's almost overused sometimes. And people are kind of expecting it, but Katy really sets up well for the play action.
Yeah.
Get those guys open.
Well, anytime you could turn your back to the defense, you don't know where the ball's at. Even that was a open up stretch play action, but you got to respect it.
And especially it looks just like the
touchdown.
run. Yeah, touchdown,
Yeah.
Katy right there.
What a run.
It looks just like the run. To the defensive side of those guys that are trying to reach, they're running, to their spots, and it looks just like the run to you. So
Well, and if the quarterback does a good job, and I think he has, really keeping the ball concealed and making a good play action fake, then it's even harder to read. Okay,
QBs
did he
don't
give
make
the
the
ball? Did he keep the ball? And then you've got to be prepared for whatever. So big strong run there. Katy scores another touchdown.
So we got a question from the chat section here for the coaches from Dan. He says, "Hey guys, I'd like to hear your thoughts. As you know, this year's playoffs are running 2 weeks later due to the delay of COVID. What do you, in the start of the school year to COVID, would you like to see 5A and 6A separated 2 weeks delay from 4A and the smaller schools
And play each other after the championship.
and play? Yeah. So like, sorry, that was kind of a lot.
The
Like,
5A 2 plays the 5A D1, 6A D2.
Oh, wow.
Because we discussed that after the 4A games, after Carthage and Argyle both won in very decisive fashion.
right. Well, personally, I like starting at the same time and going through the season together because it's a long season. The
Yes.
state championship game is today and yesterday, January whatever today's date is, January 16th, that's a long season.
Well, and even normal years, it's 16 games. The people playing in the state championship play 16 games. It's a lot.
That's NFL season, you know.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a lot to do, and then to come back right back and play the. Now that might be fun. The 6A champions play and the 5A champions play. That might be fun to do that one, but no, I prefer to start at the beginning. Let's start in August at the same time and go through the season and finish up before Christmas.
I totally agree. I think we need to get back to where it was because they still the 1 through 4As and everybody still gets their day, you know, at the state championship. Right. So, I don't want to say it seemed unnatural to play in Christmas time or January because NCAA does it, NFL does it, but there's something about starting that first week of school on the games, and then you play a 10-week season and hopefully make it to the playoffs. And playing during Thanksgiving is a privilege because it's the third round of playoffs. Right. And then, I tell you, we caught a lot of grief that final week of school before Christmas because we're in finals. And it's only the third round of second round of playoffs. It's a little bit more. I think teachers and stuff would be a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah.
Right.
Final week of school for the semester, and it's state championship. You might be able to take your finals after, or you don't have to take it now. You know what I'm saying? Right. So there's a lot of logistical issues that people don't think about.
And I think it's always traditionally been really kind of like that weekend before Christmas for the state championships. And that's a great time because
celebration of all of high school football.
Yeah, absolutely.
6-man all the way.
Well, you think about this too. I mean, if we're going to continue to play at, in Arlington at Cowboy Stadium, we're kind of like banking on Cowboys not doing some things. What if the Cowboys would have made the playoffs? Right. And we're not having it here.
Well, and this year, with the first,
which is a possibility.
With the first,
it is the Cowboys though. They'll find a way to mess it up.
This year with the first, state championships, the whole stadium was decorated for the Big 12 championship.
Right.
Because that was right after.
Right.
So this stadium obviously gets used for an endless amount of events, and so
now I will say, if I can interrupt, it was fun to play the day after Christmas. That was interesting. It was different because with UIL we could not see our kids, so that was a big concern for us going into that week. Was we're gonna play on Saturday. After Saturday, I think we played at 11. I want to say 11 or 1 o'clock that Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. And then Christmas was on Friday. We couldn't see our kids on Friday.
Right.
So we had our typical day before game practice on Thursday.
Right.
And didn't see our kids for literally 24 hours to play a football game.
Well, and I want to say that's why I believe that's why North Shore wanted to play on that Thursday.
Yes.
Because the kind of rules about when you can see your kids and not, and not wanting to screw up that normal game flow.
Yeah, Katy was one of those teams that played. They play every playoff game on Thursday leading up to that week.
Well, and you think about this, like when I talked to Coach K at North Shore about it, we were going to go Thursdays all the way through New Year's Day, right? And so you don't screw up the natural order of holidays either because you don't know other families' traditions on what they do Christmas and New Year's because they're never going to have – I hope we never have this problem again. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone
how are we going to attack this? Well, you don't want to say, no, Johnny, you can't go see your grandma on Christmas because we got practice.
Right.
Or like, please go to bed early on New Year's Eve.
Right.
And that was how it was for us. In the fourth round game was New Year's.
Yeah.
So yes, go to bed.
Go to bed early. Hey, I do like we used to do our kids. Everybody, the time changes in New York hits, right?
Right.
All right, Times Square drop. Let's go to bed. It's 11. Yeah. That kind of stuff. Yeah. So, just different problems that you never really had to think about because the last week of school, that week before Christmas, is state championships.
That's right. That's right.
We had another question in here. I'm trying to find it. It was from Mark. He asked, in your opinion, who is the most dominant high school team that you've seen in the past or the present?
Oh,
great question.
That's a good
talk
question.
about a loaded question.
Yeah, a loaded question.
I'll be honest with you.
Also, Jason, thank you for the kind words, man.
The best team we have actually played against, and I'll give them all credit, the 2018 Alito team for the state championship. That team, I felt that team might have been able to beat every state championship from every level. They were so impressive. They were so physical, and the game got away from us. Unfortunately, but I was very impressed by that team and the physicality of that team, and had the athletes in the right spot, and they were very, very disciplined. I would say the 2018 Alito team was that team for us.
Okay. Wow.
You know, I really enjoyed watching the 2015 George Ranch Longhorns get after it with Darius Anderson and those guys. Yeah. I mean, they were physical, played great defense, and just pounded you. You know, and I thought that was one of the best teams that we faced. Obviously, any Shadow Creek team that we faced was really good, particularly the last year. You know, and I really liked the year before when they had Jamarian George and all those guys kind of getting started. And then I'd have to say, man, the best butt kicking I've had has been against Cedar Park this year. Yeah. You know, they were really, really good, you know. So I think it goes along just all of it. You're talking about program-wise in the city of Houston, you know, you got to heads off Katy Tigers.
Katy,
you know,
North Shore. Katy and North Shore.
Katy and North Shore. I mean, you have some guys that, you know, have just a history of success and do some things that they've been able to do. You know, those are guys that everybody tries to emulate.
Right.
You know, so.
Shaun, if I could add on to that, tell me, do you have at one game in your career as a head coach that's just your most memorable game? That whether it's the most funnest game to be a part of or it's the biggest win, what game do you think about when you think about your number one game?
Yeah, the 2000 probably 14 game versus Calhoun. Okay. On a Thursday night where we had to throw 2 Hail Marys back-to-back to win, where Norman Richardson called us legal man downfield, and we scored, and everybody celebrated, and so we had to move 5 yards back and do it again, and CD caught both of those touchdowns, you know, and so, I mean, that kind of goes in my brain a little bit, and then, you know, I don't remember. It's funny you say that because I don't remember the wins as much. That's probably, but boy, I still remember the losses, man. Yes. You know, the loss every loss against Shadow Creek, particularly this last one where we were up and then, you know, we didn't score from 4 yards and, you know, 6 yards, 1st and 6 from the 6, and we go up. If we go up by 9 or 10 if we score there, and you know, losing to them at U of H that one year, and you know. That's probably the most memorable. I wish you could do it all over again, you know.
Real quick game update. Cedar Hill still struggling. I mean, big third down. They weren't able to pick up there.
Kind of shooting themselves in the foot with some penalties, getting into 3rd and 20, and that's not what you're looking for.
It might be panicking a little bit. They got to go back to their game plan. Spread it out.
That
guy's been close, man. It's going to happen.
They've been close all game. Yeah, they've been getting real close on those punts.
If Katy comes out here and punt, you know, remember they also kicked off, so you know they could go up 28-0, and then because they keep going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
Exactly.
Katy's going to control the clock. It's going to be a problem.
Right. They are, and Katy is content.
Watch along curse is real.
Katy is content to just run the ball and control the clock.
So I'm going to go ahead and put it on tape. If we ever get there, you guys are not allowed to watch.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, no, we're like, we just.
I want you to pick.
What if you're the blowout? What if you're the blowout?
Well, but I'd rather take my chances of like, me being.
All right. We won't watch, or we won't do a watch along for you.
Invite us all on the field when we can do that.
There you go.
The whole VYPE crew.
You got it, man. Yeah, you can watch along there.
There you
go. So
perfect.
Yeah. Coach Williams, how about you? Same question.
I have some. Man, he's so right. I can tell you about the losses more than I can tell you about the wins. You know, because they just some of them just really
burn, man.
They don't leave you. They really don't leave you. Especially ones where you really thought you had a chance to get to state or to do some good things that year. But I mean, I had a few. I mean, maybe my first one as a head coach was probably 2012 when we played Texas City when they had the Foreman twins. They were ranked number 1 in the state, and it was a 2nd-round game, and everybody in the world picked us to lose, and we ended up coming out of that game. I think we won 42-21, something like that, and played a really, really physical game. I played at Galena Park at North Shore Stadium, and very physical game, and we're just very proud of our guys for, you know, dealing with the adversity and dealing with being the underdogs and just taking it personal, you know, and it's personal to win that game, and they played a tremendously physical game, and, you know, definitely proud of that team in 2012. Another one is, you know, you always talk about the Mo City Miracle, you know, 2018, because for 3 years in a row we had made it to the 4th round of the playoffs but could not get over that hump. And, you know, we're in that game against Huntsville, which was a great defense, one of the best defenses in a long time. They were playing very great defense, and we jumped out on them 21-0, just like that, with Devon H. Hands was a junior and some other guys. I mean, we were rocking and rolling that game and had to lead all the way up until maybe about 3 minutes ago in the game in the 4th quarter, and they somehow just went ahead on us. And then we, you know, converted a 4th and 10 they called the Mo City Miracle reverse pass, and that didn't go well. That we had to reverse back and throw, and just Devon Achane made it incredible. He threw the ball. He didn't run the ball. He threw the ball. And Delvon Campbell caught a great catch over 2 defenders and ran for a touchdown. And oh my goodness, that's one again. That's one my wife fainted in the stands on that one. But and then.
Yes,
last year was very memorable again in the semifinals when we played Bernie Champion to make it to the state championship for the second year in a row. That was a really special game, playing in Cal Field, and a Saturday afternoon, perfect 70 degrees out that day in December, and it's really memorable for us.
Yeah, I can kind of, I think we can all relate, even as fans. I think sometimes the losses are way more memorable than the wins. I mean, obviously you remember those moments of winning a big game or going to a championship or whatever. Yeah. But
I'll tell you what, as a Baylor fan, watching Baylor lose the Cotton Bowl to Michigan State back in 2014 when we were up by 21 points.
Wow.
My friend was actually the kicker who just got annihilated. I don't know if you remember that gif. Yeah. Me and him went to high school together, actually. So
that's awesome.
We gave him such a hard time about that.
Well, man, and when they brought up, that, remembering the losses, I went to Pearland High School, and so, I was there a freshman when we won state in 2010, and then was a senior when we played Kyler Murray. And I'll tell you what, I loved getting to watch my team win state, but watching my team get annihilated by Allen, I feel like I remember that one first because it was just so painful. Like that was just such an awful experience having to sit in the stands and watch that.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
At the beginning of this drive, it seems like they're doing what Katy does.
They're rolling, man.
They flashed the graphic that Katy lost to Tompkins earlier this year on November 5th, and we kind of asked Coach Joseph about it. I mean, for y'all as coaches, is there times where you maybe lose a game that you shouldn't lose? Not to say that Thompson's probably shouldn't have won, but Katy was definitely favored. Right. But that kind of reset your team a little bit. Have y'all had any?
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Sometimes, like I said, we were talking about this yesterday, you learn more from a loss than you do a win because you try to reset yourself and make sure you're doing the right things. Because winning makes everybody feel good. Winning covers up a lot of problems.
That's right. And then you get yourself in a situation of that. You're winning, and then you're thinking you're better than you are. Some guys are kind of their chests are getting a little bit too big, their heads a little bit too big, and then I realize, no, you're not doing this the right way. And sometimes, which is true, in 2019 last year, we lost to Manville in the regular season. They were in our district, and it was a good loss for us because it really brought the guys back down to earth. Hey, we got work to do to get back to that state championship. We want to get there. We moved some guys around, some different starters in, and try to look for a different puzzle, and it ended up working out for us and being a great situation for you. Granted, that night you hate it, and that night you don't enjoy going through it.
Right.
Sure.
But we ended up turning the ball over 5 times in that game, and we still almost won in the end. But we tell the guys, if you do this, you don't have a chance to win. And so that's why we put much more of an emphasis in we don't turn the ball over.
Right. Well, 6 minutes left to play here in the half. Katy is, driving strong. They're at the Cedar Hill 25-yard line, and just no sign of slowing down. Just running the ball with power. And
you see that on that, Shaun? They got 2 gaps open on there. They're playing the defensive front.
Yeah, I don't know why they're playing that 9 technique.
Yeah,
man. Like a 9, like a 2-eye inside the guard there. I was like, uh-oh.
That C and B
they got to be, you playing those guys. Well, I sure like to play a head up 6 and play that C gap.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, especially against these guys because they are going to be strong side run heavy. So they're going to attack you in the B gap or attack you in the C gap, and you don't have an answer for it.
Right.
Especially if your safety is supposed to fill that C gap from 8 yards back, that's going to be a problem for them, and it could get ugly.
Right.
They're just pounding them right now. It's 3
Another
down
first
runs,
down.
getting 4 to 5 yards a carry.
Right.
They're happy with it. I may have play action pass here, comes on first down here pretty quick.
So there's still 5 minutes left to play in the half. So I think I don't know. I would feel like with only 1 timeout, Cedar Hill may get the ball back before halftime.
Right.
Do you think at this point, if Katy scores here, it would be 21-0. They're getting the ball after half. Do you think that down 21-0 before half, Cedar Hill kind of has to score?
You have to.
Yeah,
you got to try to get some kind of positive going into halftime.
Gotcha.
I think if you're Cedar Hill, if you can get out of here 17-7, that's a massive, massive win.
Well, they get
but I tell you, play action pass on first down there.
Do you coach football?
Offensive guy.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you're correct. If Cedar Hill right now can hold them to a field goal, And whether you go in the half at 17-0, or if you can get the ball back and try to get in the end zone before halftime, I do a lot as far as momentum going in, because it's tough if you go into halftime down 21-0 and they get the ball back second half. That's going to be a tough locker room.
Well, in the way that they've done it, in the kind of dominant. I mean, here again, just another.
And I'm telling you, man, just watch their O-line, 76, 73. You're just mauling those boys. 66. I mean. And picking up linebackers off the ground, they're doing a great job of dominating up front. It could be a long day for the Longhorns. Here pretty quick if they don't get something going. Yeah. They're getting real physical.
You're saying right now, we're just talking about that physical play up front, and they're getting a lot of push. It will help them a little bit if they can bring some guys off the edge to get the running back before he gets to the hole and try to do it that way. Because if you sit back and just really keep taking that pounding, it's you're just going to keep getting pushed back.
Do you think that maybe Cedar Hall just needs to take some chances? Maybe bring some more guys. You're gonna, open yourself up on the back end to some, either play action or some, passing opportunities. But do you think maybe they're at the point where we just need to bring some extra guys?
Yeah, but here's the problem when you do blitz a team like Katy, and there's such a heavy run game, you lose your fit. So if you don't, that's not a chop block, but okay.
That doesn't seem like
that does not look like a chop block.
So when you start bringing guys up the edge or blitz, you lose run support.
Right.
Especially on the outside pitches and you got guys coming in. It's just all about angles. So for me, you got to stack the box and let them play. I don't necessarily know that blitzing is the answer, because you could blitz yourself out of stuff,
Right.
So that's why I think you're not seeing that. But what you are seeing is the O-line dominate a little bit. And they probably need to stop running up the field too, D-line running up the field.
You don't want to get upfield, no.
Because they're just creating wider run lanes for them. So they probably haven't seen a team like Katy.
Right. They play just such a unique, in this day and age of football, such a unique brand of football. Run first offense that a lot of teams don't run. So big third down.
Third and 23.
23, yes. Third and a whole long ways. So
it kind of seems like for Katy, the only thing that can stop them right now is Katy.
Yes.
With the penalties. That 15-yarder was.
You got a screen right here. Incomplete.
That's a great job by 32.
Yeah.
You got them in doing something they don't necessarily want to do right there. So that's a victory for them.
So if you can hold, I don't think they're going to kick a field goal in this situation, but this is a win for Cedar Hill right now.
Absolutely, huge win. Even if they kick a field goal and it, make it 17-0, I mean that's a whole lot better than 21, and you get that stop, you get that added boost of confidence. Okay, we can actually slow them down. We can actually stop.
So what are you on the sideline, Shaun? What are you saying in the offense right now about to get on that field?
Right now, it's 4th to 23. You're probably trying to kick a field goal depending on where we are in this field.
Cedar Hill,
man, we got down score. We're going to try to play some tempo here.
Yeah.
We're going to get on them. But, our big thing is that we got to go down and score. Or if we don't go down and score, we can't turn the ball over and give them the ball back. Does that make sense?
That's right.
So it's going to come down to the first couple plays, what it looks like, and then we'll probably be like, all right, we got to slow this down.
Right. You want to have the ball last.
That's right. Yeah, we don't, because you don't want to give it back to them.
Right. Well,
they get the ball back they get the ball first, second half. So
right.
Like,
So 32, we just made that play. Charles Esters III signed with Tech. He's going to Texas Tech next year.
Nice.
That's a program that could use some.
They could certainly use some defensive talent.
And that's one thing at that program is it's always for years been known for offense. They have to find a way to play some defense.
Right.
Now the commercial roll.
Yeah,
I know.
Now we're not watching a game. We don't have anything interesting. If you've got any questions, man, shoot them off in the chat. We got two successful. We're not talking about lowly high school football teams here. No. Talking about some successful high school football coaches in here. Ask them some questions. Get some questions for the coaches here.
Yeah, ask Shaun some questions so I can write some notes.
Yeah, quick.
No questions are dumb questions.
Yeah.
A question that it was kind of asked yesterday, but I wanted to get the coach's perspective because I know Matt and Josh asked you, Coach Williams, as far as the players kind of feeling of state. But I mean, what about the coaches? I mean, you talk about normally they're playing in stadiums that maybe hold 20,000, 30,000 people.
Right.
You're not as far up if your coach is up in the press.
Right.
What's that like for the coaches? Is that new? Is that an adjustment for them as well?
A little bit, not major, but yeah, I mean, you're completely correct. I mean, my guys are way up there in Jerry's world, but it's a little bit of adjustment. But as adults, we got to focus in the same thing. It's a football field, it's a football game, and let's do what we normally do. Right. We want to keep as much as routine as we can. Especially our kids. They're such routine-based kids. You don't want surprises. You don't want to mix things up too much. You want to keep them comfortable and in their right element of what they're used to doing.
So. Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, I try not to look at the stands. It don't matter if there's 10 people in there or 10,000. So I definitely try to get the double earphones so I get that music playing. I don't have to hear the play calls in the stands. But no, I imagine I've never played in a state championship game. Hopefully, we'll soon. I can imagine it can be just like any big game. You want to just concentrate on what's going on in the field because my back is turned to the stands anyway. It doesn't matter.
And thinking about that, I mean. Yeah, that's one of the things we talked about yesterday with the state championship all being so much in Dallas. In Arlington.
Yeah.
Those teams play in that stadium, a lot more.
They're more comfortable.
Exactly.
I think it says Cedar Hill's about 15, 20 miles from AT&T Stadium. It's a little different than.
Yeah, they drove a yellow dog to get
Katy.
there probably.
Yeah. Well, they got a 49-yarder coming up, and it looks like they're bringing out the field goal unit again.
Wow.
Is there, obviously it depends on the kicker in the year,
defense.
but is there generally is 40 yards kind of your max as you feel comfortable for a PAT at this level, or what's your comfort level?
Just depends on the kicker. Depends on his ability. Oh, that's right down the middle.
He got it.
Right down the middle.
Wow.
Field goal.
It's probably good from 55 right there. I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to how it's all good snap, good hold, good kick, right? So you obviously rep that in practice and you know what you can do, right? So I probably, my guy, he could probably hit it from there, But there's been years where we got to get this extra point.
Right.
Wow, that was a great kick.
And how much of that too with field goal kickers? How much of that? Because I know that I think kickers don't get the love that they deserve. I think they only get the hate. Right. When a kicker does really bad, it's easy to be like, oh, well, he's just kicking a ball. It's a lot harder than that.
Yeah, kickers get a bad rap because they're not actually quote unquote playing the game of football every day.
Right.
But man, you sure need them when you need them, right? They're important people. And when you don't have a kicker and you find out just how important a kicker is,
right.
And
in that situation, a 49-yard field goal, how much of that is you knowing your kicker, and how much of that is in the moment feel of the kicker being like, Coach, I can make this.
No, you got to know your kicker.
It's your kicker. Obviously, that guy's proved that he can do it. Yes. But, it has to be a good hold, right? Or good snap, good hold, good kick because they're coming at you, right? And so, you've seen it before. Guys go for those 49, 50-yard field goals, don't even get it to the end zone. Right. Then all of a sudden, man, it's Auburn, Alabama again,
That's right.
So, you got to think about that kind of stuff.
And Cedar Hill had a guy back there for that.
They did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I find it interesting how this kicker – he just made a 49-yard field goal pretty convincingly, but they're kind of pooch kicking it every time. Right. Obviously, there's some strategy
for this reason right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, we don't like to fair catch it because we feel like we can get more yards to the past of 25. If we can do that, then we've gained yardage, right? So either they're a little nervous on their kickoff team or didn't feel like that guy could boom it that far. Not sure.
Yeah. In that situation, again, Katy just wants to put the defense on the field. Yeah. So if you can do a pooch kick like that with those athletes that they have and just give them a fair catch on the 25-yard line, that's what Katy wants. Just don't risk returns for touchdowns.
You don't want to give. It's all about like you said, putting the ball into the hands of playmakers, and they don't want to put the ball into the hands of the deep return man who might have some good speed, and once he hits a hole, it could be.
He could be 6. Yeah. Like I told you yesterday, man. That my biggest worry is always when we're on kickoff and we're just getting started because you never know how it's going to go down.
Right.
I don't mind kickoff return because they're kicking us the ball, but kickoff, we work kickoff every day almost because it makes me nervous.
I think people don't understand how important, and maybe I could talk about that as coaches, how important special teams is in the game of football. It's a third of the
especially
game.
Especially at high school.
Absolutely. Oh man, it is. We work on it as much as we work on anything else. We've dedicated full athletic periods to it, the first 20, 30 minutes of practice to get it done. You can win a game of special teams, but you can definitely lose a game if you don't have any special teams. So, people, like I said, it might be more of a third of a game because you're doing it every 3 plays, hopefully, or not. But, you always end with some sort of special team. You begin and end with a special team.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know your experience, Shaun, with us. It's funny because for our kickoff return team, we've had several situations where there may be a penalty, maybe an offside or something, and we want them to kick again. It always seems to go worse the second time.
Yes, we all just take the
take it where it is. Just don't do it again.
Exactly. He's like, good Lord, here we go. Just give me. That's why I was saying. I know Coach Williams is probably more of a traditionalist than I am. I just give me the ball on the 30, let's go to work. You know, but I kind of like them XFL rules when it came to like when they scored and you had to go for 1, 2, or 3.
Right.
You know, I like that too. You know, and people complain about what happens if you onside kick it and get the ball back. That one play is not. You know, there's so many plays in the game that determined if you won or lost, and if it comes down to an onside kick.
Well, and like you said, those new football leagues kind of moved away from the kickoff because it is statistically such a dangerous play in the game. I mean, do you as coaches feel like this, you know, connection to the kickoff, like it's so important for football? Because I know watching, you know, the AAF when it existed, and I went to a game.
Big AAF guy.
And big AAF guy. And went to a game, and it was very weird to not, because you go to a football game, you're like, okay, opening kickoff. But they just put the ball, and then they start, I was like, oh, that's a little weird. But you get very used to it very quickly. You know, do you have a connection to like, are kickoffs like just such an important part, or are you fine with, okay, for safety or for whatever reason, we change it and we put the ball at the 30 or whatever, and we just say, go play ball?
I'd be all for that, actually. I love the game of football. I love some of the things they do, but I think kickoff return is like, hey, I'll be good with just give me the ball on the 30. Let's go to work. You know, one less thing I got to worry about during the week.
Right.
Well, no, I'm definitely traditionalist. I want that. I want the kickoff. I wanted it. But just like we talked about, there's ways of making it safe. You know, there's so many times, and you know, right there, pooching, and so many teams nowadays they do more pooching than do kicking it deep. You know, and then you have some kickers who are good enough they just kick it out of the end zone. So you know, there's a lot. If you actually think about maybe take stats, majority of the games, I promise you, half of the kickoffs are not even returned. You know, so you're not really seeing as much anymore.
And some people are like, well, pooch kick it. Some people dribble that sucker, squib it, you know, where they, you know, just kind of dribble it down, you know, to make you try to handle it.
And they've changed rules about it. You know, no more wedges. You know, no more 2-man together blocking. So they've done some things that helped, that's definitely helped.
Right.
You know,
tell you what, Cedar Hill, they got their backs against the wall.
Absolutely.
Right now.
I mean, pinned very,
it's
very
3rd and
deep.
6. They don't get this. Can expect a timeout by Katy.
Yes.
You know, and so they got to have 2 minutes.
Tough first half for Caden Salters there. 34 yards for Caden. Did not.
The guy
we
who
knew Katie's defense was good, but didn't see that.
I am not surprised because they have not really done anything to get Katy off balance.
Right.
And it's
drops the ball.
You know, they haven't
get it away, and
almost. You know, just now they don't have to have a call timeout. You know, so now it's really Katie's ball. So
wow.
You know, they haven't done anything that makes Katie's defense sweat a little bit. Yeah. You know, they're kind of playing into the hands of them. So,
and like you said, you don't want to give Katy the ball back, but they went 3 and out. I mean, and they threw the ball.
That's exactly what they did not want to do.
Exactly. So you leave them 2 minutes. They have 2 timeouts.
I feel like they have like under 50 yards of offense right now.
So in that situation, you got 3rd and 7, Shaun. What are you calling right there to try to keep the clock running, but still try to get that first down?
Oh, it's going to be a run.
Okay.
At
Not
this
a
point,
screen, maybe?
Foster, we're not good at screens, so you can get there. You can just watch the film and know that. But yeah, it's going to be some sort of run because it's a successful play for us if we're even allowed to make you use a timeout, right? So they've got 2 timeouts left. If they'd have run the ball on 3rd down, we might have had you burn a timeout. Now we got to get you in your 2-minute situation. How good are you in that?
And I will say Cedar Hill, a good punt and great coverage downfield. I mean, the return gained 2-3 yards at max. And so now Katy's got 55, 60 yards to go for a touchdown, or less obviously for a possible field goal.
It's going to be pass, run. You know, they're going to work the sidelines here a little bit. You know, I don't know. I don't see much drop back pass here, but
hey, Coach McDowell, it looks like we got a shout out in the comments section where he says, "Great job, Coach McDowell," from Stephanie McDowell.
Oh, that's my sister, probably. What's up, Stephanie? Hey, that's my sister. You know, hey, I gotta get the family to watch in case nobody else wants to, right?
That's right. Well, we gotta say, I think my dad's watching. Shout out to
shout out. Shout out to the fam.
We got 78 people watching right now, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
We got tons of great video content coming out.
We also have another question for you, Coach McDowell. This is from VYPE Media co-founder Derek Dushek. He's asking, what's your favorite restaurant in Fulshire?
Ooh, my favorite restaurant in Fulshire. I haven't been to the new Molina's yet.
I love Molina's.
But that's back. But I tell you, that Hat Creek place over there off of 1092 is pretty daggum good, you know? Okay. But, man, I love to eat, and I'm all in if he wants to take me out to eat, you know? So.
Yeah, get on that, Derek. I'm kind of surprised that Katy's letting the clock go down as
They are.
much as they are, right?
They are. Well, I guess they feel they're in control of this game. And
Wrap draw.
What a play.
Touchdown. No
What
way.
a play
No
call.
way.
Never mind.
What a play.
wrap
No,
draw.
hey, what they did was lull them to sleep when they put that wrap
They
draw
sure
on them.
did.
Yeah.
Hey, when you play teams like Katy, and then play Pato, you better get ready for that wrap draw, to be honest with you. It's coming.
Coach Joseph said, "Don't question me."
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, they're rocking out now, so it's
man.
over.
Wow.
Wrap draw.
55-yard touchdown and a wrap draw.
Wow.
They didn't even see
Make
it.
the play right there, can't do it. You know?
Man. And to be fair, even if he can, he's already gaining, 10, 12 yards.
Yeah.
It's still a great call nonetheless, but obviously this one goes for a touchdown.
I tell you, this is the worst case scenario.
Yes.
Yes.
Very easy could have been 28-0. Yeah. Now they get the ball back at 24-0 in 30 seconds, and City Hill probably they're looking around being like, what just happened?
Yikes.
Right.
It's gonna be big. This halftime. I mean, it tests your character. I mean, you're down. Things aren't going where you want to go. But hey, are you guys gonna stay positive? Are you gonna keep fighting?
Did he
you know?
put that around him?
Yeah, he
like
wrapped it
this?
around.
Yeah,
That's why
he
it's called a
wrap it
wrap
around
draw.
and he gets it on the back end.
Yeah.
Because it's a sprint out wrap draw.
That's good footwork and handwork by the quarterback there.
Molina's on Derek. He's got you.
Hey, write that down. It's on video. It's on video. Yes.
Did he say
you.
Shaun and James? Yeah, we're a team.
We're a team. We're
The
partners.
McWilliams
So
now.
if,
We're a team.
if my man comes all the way from where he lives out to Molina's, yes.
Say, and Stephanie
you.
McDowell says, shout out to Coach Williams, too, way they represent FBISD.
Oh, see,
thank
she
you.
really,
Thank
that's
you.
really what
Thank
she
you.
wanted to say
She's
right there to
awesome.
Coach Williams.
She's awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
she
that.
used me
Shout out.
as like the icebreaker, but everybody wants to get it, James.
Well, I know we certainly appreciate having you guys back. I know that wasn't necessarily the plan, but
That's awesome.
glad you guys had a good time yesterday. Glad you're hopefully having a good time today. And I know people are obviously enjoying watching your input for the game. So I mean, we can talk about football, but none of it makes any sense.
Honestly, not to get a little mushy, but Coach Williams is one of my best friends in coaching. We talk all the time. I call him for all kinds of stuff. Yes. When I got, when we were we actually started our bus driving training together back in like 2002.
Yes.
So I mean, we've been together a long time. When he was at Kempner and I was at Bush, and then he was at Manful on the Hightower, and and I was at Cypress Creek, and then I went to Willow Ridge, and he kicked my butt when I was at Willow Ridge. And,
you returned the favor 2 years later.
Then I was able to return it at Foster. I mean, if there's a coaching issue or just a thing that we need to advice or how to handle a situation, I'm definitely calling him, and he's doing the same. And we spoke a lot about defense and offense, and
just also Greater Houston Coach Association. We both were blessed to be presidents, to serve as presidents, and
I followed him.
Yes.
His big shoes to fill.
Well, I think you'll be happy to know Derek said you're welcome as well.
Oh, thank you.
And it's on video, so
there we go.
I'm gonna screenshot this, man. It's fixing to be on.
We're getting real comfortable. Shaun, you good? You feel good over there?
I mean, I'm great.
Oh, I tell you what, 7:00 game. We can just get these guys out of here. We can
That's what I'm talking about. There you go.
Let it roll, baby.
What do you want for dinner? What's up, Derek? Bring Molina's.
Yeah, there you go. It's only a little bit of a drive. It's not that far.
Nah, it ain't that bad.
Well, I think to your point, that just shows how tight the coaching community is, especially in Houston and across the state of Texas. Everybody knows each other. And
Absolutely.
Everybody bounces ideas with each other. I think, Coach McDowell, you said you haven't had an original thought ever.
No, I copy. I copy
so
and steal everything. To be honest with you,
Well,
I
think it's worked out okay thus far.
yeah.
We're headed to halftime here. I mean, Katy has. Why did we go against the coaches? I don't know.
They know something.
Katy is dominated. It's 24-0 at half. I think that we'll have highlights, I think, from Tommy Yarish here pretty soon. But I wanted to wait till halftime. I had a question in my mind. I wanted to wait till halftime so we weren't missing the game.
Is that for you?
But
Hey, I recognize that name.
Heyo.
Alvita, my wife, Alvita Williams.
Alvita Williams.
How nice.
Now that's the real MVP. Make no mistake.
Hey, wife. Hey, wifey.
Yeah.
The coaches, the families, the wives, the real MVPs.
Absolutely.
She wrote a comment in the comment section. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, coaches, I wanted to know. I don't want to put you on the spot and make you pick one, but just for us, for the people watching, could you maybe name just a couple of the fantastic athletes that you've had the pleasure of coaching over your tenure? Just some that stick out to you, some of your favorites, some that have just been.
Well, let's get comfortable. Since you said, no. In all honesty, I've been very, very blessed. Very, very very fortunate to coach some great young men, and I've had some that have gone to the NFL, some going to play major college football, and some that didn't make it who were just as great kids, you know. But just throwing names out, my very first year at Marshall High School, I had the pleasure of coaching DeAndre Washington, running back. He now plays for the Miami Dolphins. You know, he went to Texas Tech, played running back there, and this is probably his 5th or 6th year in the NFL right now. He's hanging on for the Miami Dolphins.
That's great.
Kendall Sheffield was a phenomenal football player and track athlete for us at Marshall High School. He's playing for the Atlanta Falcons right now. Great family, great young man. I mean, both of those guys are tremendous examples and tremendous role models as well. And I can keep going from Devon Achan just left us. Malik Hornsby just left us this year. Tremendous young men, very good athletes, very great futures as well. I can see both of those guys making it to the NFL as well. And I can even go before I went to Marshall and talk about Shaun Lewis, linebacker when I was at Hightower, defense coordinator at Hightower, and that was in 08 and 09. And we're fortunate to play for a state championship against Allen that year. I think that's their first championship. We didn't win that game, but he was a tremendous example and a role model. Went on to play for Oklahoma State at linebacker. And like I said, just tremendous guys who are, all of them are just as good as guys off the field as they are on the field. So I've been very blessed with some good guys, and even some track athletes. My track coach, Lloyd Banks, is one of the best in the business in the country. And he's had 4 state championships in track, and Shaun MUI was one of his runners, went on to run at Florida State. And as we've had some tremendous athletes come in and out of our doors at Marshall High School, and we're very, very proud of what we've been able to build and do at that school. And I've been there since 2010, and hopefully I can do another 11 years there.
Yeah, Coach McDowell.
Man, that's a tough one. While a coach was talking, you start going all the way. I mean, it's easy to pick the big ones like CeeDee Lamb, and everybody knows that one. I don't want to take credit for him at all. That's his mom and dad and all the genetics, and we helped him get to where he was and when his high school years. But it goes way back. I mean, you like I said, you have such a range of kids. The ones that make it, the ones that don't, the ones that give everything you got for them. And you see, like for me, my first kind of big time successful guy that you got to meet, like Bob Stoops and all that kind of stuff, was Russell Okung when I was the offensive line coach at Bush. Mm-hmm. He ended up being a 4-year starter at Oklahoma State and then picked number 6 overall in the draft, and he's still playing. Right. I think he was the first player to ever get paid in Bitcoin. I mean, that's how he is. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then you go on to just all the players that we had at Bush, and you go on to Cypress Creek High School, and I had a guy named Cameron Fleming that I coached on O-line who ended up going to Stanford. Was started as a true freshman at Stanford. He's literally a rocket scientist from Stanford. Wow. But he plays, he played for the Giants. He got drafted by the Patriots. Yeah. So there was one Super Bowl, I believe, that played in Houston where it was Seahawks versus the Patriots, and I had a player on both sides. Wow. That was cool, right? Yeah. And then, just all the guys that we've had in the most successful teams. It's hard to pick a few guys that come to mind. Obviously, CD, Alex Raymart, one of the best coaches or best kids I've ever coached, who went on to Akron and plays at IUP now. You got Chucky Keaton, who was the quarterback for me at Cy Creek, who's now back at Utah State coaching running backs. You got Chandler Spites, who really was the man who made CD, because if you didn't throw it to CD, you double covered CD, or Chandler is going to be the one that catch 88 balls and 1,900 yards and something touchdowns. So, and then you got a guy like Joe Garza, who was a great offensive lineman for us, who went to Grambling. And was the first person in his family to go to college and get it paid for. That's generational change. Yeah, right. I mean, you just think about we have great kids, great administration at Foster. I've been blessed in my career to have coached those guys, and if I hadn't been around those guys, I'm probably not with you here today, let's be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Hats off to them, and thank you for allowing me to coach you good and bad.
Right. And that's what coaching's all about, right?
No doubt.
It's not just about, making these guys better at football, making them, better at the fundamentals and, making them better athletes. It's about making them, better young men and teaching them kind of the way of life and, how to be a man and handle yourself in this world. And I think, both of you, obviously your careers show that you've, done that, very well for a long time.
Well, the game of football mirrors life. I mean, as you're going through it, you really don't realize until you don't have it anymore. I know Coach Williams would say the same thing, but it forces you to work hard every day. Right. That's something that is not natural, right? And it forces you to commit to something that kind of sucks a little bit, right? It's hot. You gotta work hard. It's not always fun. You're trying to move a man that doesn't want to be moved or tackle a guy that you're not going to be able to tackle. Yeah. You have to mentally overcome some things. You have to build relationships with people in the locker room that you don't have a clue about or don't look anything like you, right? And I think we've lost a little bit the locker room aspect in America, and the team. But I mean, it mimicked life so much, right? Because when you're down and you're out, you have to figure out a way to pull yourself up, right? And so, like right here, Cedar Hill, for instance, better find a way. So you got to make a decision. You can fight and claw, or you're going to sit here and take it, right? And so they're going to find out what type of kids they have and what type of program they are right here in this game.
Right. And I'm sure, Shaun, you can say the same thing. As one of the biggest rewards is when you have those young men that you've coached for 4 years graduate and come back 5 years later, 10 years later with a family and kids, and thank you for the lessons they've learned, that you've helped them in life and helped them be successful, and you helped them to understand the importance of working hard and what character means and what discipline means and how it's helped them. It's been very rewarding. And
I love that. We get in trouble for that. You can ask my administration about that kind of stuff. Our kids come back, and that's the best part of it all is the relationships. So you get to follow them. Right. You get to see, like, Alex is about to get married, and I just went out to dinner with him last week. You get to see the success that CD's had. You get to see the graduation pictures of guys like, man, I remember when you were 16 years old. Right. Yes. Now you're 22. Or like the kids at Bush that I coach, man, they're like almost 40 now. You're like, golly, I remember when you were like 16. And so, I mean, that's what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, all we have is family and the relationships we built. And that's the way that for us to live forever as the people pass on our story. And I don't think and live that every day. But your legacy is a big deal, right? And you live that legacy every day. Definitely. So, you're not going to remember the scores. You're not going to remember, but they're going to remember the bus rides. They're going to remember the things that they have to do and the things you've done in off season. And then, when the score goes away, you still got those relationships.
Right. Absolutely. Remember those bus rides, especially if you're in Region 4 for those 2 years. Traveling all over the place.
Thank you, UIL. Shout out to the UIL.
Well, we got some stats, actually, that we can flash up here.
I think while we
on the screen.
Yeah, I think while we flash, we can go ahead and go over these stats, and then once we've gone over them, we'll go ahead and leave them up, and we'll take a little break here.
Yes, sir.
So here's our halftime stats.
76 total yards by Cedar.
I don't know who said it, but said they felt like Cedar Hill probably had less than 50 yards, and we're not off very far. 76 total for the first half.
First thing that stands out, if you look at third downs, they have not converted one third down.
Oh,
Cedar
man,
Hill in that game. That's tough to do. You can't have success if you can't move that chains. And Katy has done what Katy does. They play suffocating defense. Their guys are fitting right. They're in the right spot, and they're kind of forcing Cedar Hill to take chances and to really try to put the ball downfield. And they've been able to get the interceptions to stop them.
And obviously, the time of possession just absolutely ridiculous in favor of Katy right now. Yeah. Obviously, lending it to the brand of football that they play. They want to smother you. They want to run the ball and control the clock. But Katy's doing everything right at the moment, and they look poised to come out and continue that in the second half, obviously getting the ball first. So we're going to go ahead and leave these stats up for a few minutes while we get a little break here.
Maybe run some highlights if we get them in time. I don't know.
If we get the highlights, we'll go ahead and run those, but we'll leave the stats up, and we'll be back here in 4 or 5 minutes. So stay tuned, and we'll be back with more. were the highlights shot by VYPE ambassador Tommy Yarish.
Shout out to Tommy, doing a great job.
Killing the coverage. He's you can follow him at VYPE Houston on Twitter. That's what the account he's running for the game. And you can follow Steven Peters at VYPE DFW on Twitter. They are active in this game. Obviously, one side probably a little more active than the other.
What was that?
Yeah, Katy up 24-0. We did have a question in the chat from Mark. Going into the second half, what do we think? What Cedar Hill need to do? What can they do?
They need to get a first down. That's what they need to do. like some success. The big thing they got to have a little say. The big thing they want to do, they got. You can say you can come out and establish the run and all the coaching cliches and stuff. But to be honest with you, it's as simple as that. Yep. Finding a way to get a first down. Katy has their number right now.
Yeah.
So they got to find a way. Their game plan that they came in obviously didn't work, right? So they had to find little successes. Try to get get into 2nd and 5 manageable downs. Let their athlete, the quarterback, take over. But it really turns first downs got to become touchdowns. They got to be able to. They can't go 3 and out much longer.
Yep.
This game is going to get blown wide open. But it's as simple as that. Just work to getting that first down, or second first down, and then try to keep the ball rolling a little
right.
bit.
That's exactly what we were saying. The little things. They just need to do small things. Complete a pass. Complete another one. Get that first down. Okay, now let's maybe establish our first drive. Let's start working towards getting towards the end zone because they haven't really been anywhere near it.
And you would think like pregame jitters are out. Now it's come to strategy. Everybody's calmed down. You're sweaty. You just got out of halftime. Right. So, I felt like they didn't get very many yards. Obviously, you see 76 total yards, 29 rush yards. It makes sense. Katy is going to outnumber you in the run game. You have to find a way to spread them out. Use your quarterback as a runner. They got dude going to Tennessee. So, right. I don't know if he is that runner, but they got to find a way to get the ball out quickly on the perimeter, take advantage of some stuff. If not, it's going to be a tough hill to climb here pretty quick.
Right.
Oh, and I think that hill is already, pretty tough as it is, a 24-0 lead. We were talking with Coach Williams while you were out of the room, and I think this is exactly where Katy wants to be.
Yes, they couldn't draw it up any better than this. Defensively playing very strong, very sound, and again getting Cedar Hill's offense off the field. And Cedar Hill has a very good offense, like Coach McDowell just said. They have some players over there that can make some big plays, and so Katy's getting them off the field and then letting their offense just get on the field and pound the football, run the clock. Time of possession is very much on their favor, and obviously running the ball is on their favor. So they're doing exactly what they want to do, and that threat of run is opening up those play action passes and getting those guys wide open for those touchdowns and those big plays. So, again, Katy couldn't ask for a better script. And, again, they have the ball first coming out in the second half. So the score can be 31-0 very quickly.
In a hurry. The big thing, Katy's defense is unique, but it's not unique to the Houston area now. So, I'll probably see a version of Katy's defense 7 out of 10 games, And so we're used to playing it. If you're not used to playing it like Cedar Hill is, you don't know how to attack it. And it's really hard to get a game plan and find ways to attack it if you don't understand the structure and the philosophy of that defense. Because it's not a typical 3-4. It's not the A&M, 3-4 defense. It's some of it, but then the way they've been able to manipulate it and do the things that work for them, it's tough, man. Because you think you got them outnumbered, and then you don't. And then the way they align things, you think you got them, and then you don't. So. It's tough, and man, they're rearing back right now, and hopefully they don't get that. Defense wants that goose egg, and they might get it.
Well, they've done such a good job, thus far of proving that they're a great defense. We talked earlier about maybe Katy being in Division II, maybe they didn't have to go the tough road that they would have if they were in 6A Division I. I think that they're proving without a doubt that. I don't know if that would have mattered. They are playing just so well.
I don't know. I think
that's a take, David.
I'm telling you.
I don't know, brother.
I'm telling you, they played so well.
I would agreeably disagree, I guess. Because I do not agree with that sentiment at all. I think 6A Division II is not the same as 6A Division I, because you would have had to play some dogs to get to this point right here. I mean, you had to go through North Shore. You probably would, you know what I'm saying? You would have had to get through
like
Westlake.
Rich Point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly. So there's some teams that, now do I think that they probably would have been successful? Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But I'm telling you, a blowout in the 5th round versus, once they got past Shadow Creek, and they dominated Shadow Creek.
Yeah.
They dominated Shadow Creek in that game. I mean, that was it. Let's be honest. And if you look back at the history of Katy High School, they have dominated 6A Division II for years, right? But
the few times they have gone up to D1 in the playoffs, they haven't necessarily gotten over the hump. When they were winning state championships, they never faced Kyler Murray and Allen.
That is correct.
D1 too. So it's the luck of the draw for a school like Katy. I feel like because your North Shore is the bigger enrollments. You know what no matter what, you're probably going D1. So that's
they are for guaranteed going based on their alignment because of the schools around them. So like Katy High School being obviously the original school in Katy, they get split from. Right, so they get taken from, which makes their enrollment lower. Right. So you got where all the growth is out there in Seven Lakes, Tompkins, Foster area, obviously, and the New High School, Jordan. It's making their schools bigger, but Katy is staying the same. So
interesting.
When you get teams that are big schools like the Tompkins, the Seven Lakes, if they make the playoffs, right, because it's just its own Katy ISD football district, you can almost bet that they're going to go D2. Right. Where you get North Shore, they're going to be the biggest school in their district regardless of who they play. Because of the Pasadenas and the Pearlands and stuff that they play in there.
It's definitely a gauntlet. That 6A Division 1 is definitely a gauntlet.
I mean, golly.
You earned that one. You earned that state championship there.
Right. I'm not taking away anything and not discrediting the 6A Division 2 division and the teams that play in it.
Because like you said, Katy would be there.
This is different. This is different.
I feel like you're more inclined to get your Cinderella stories in your 6A D2. Like Clear Springs made it 4 rounds deep this year. They beat a good Taylor team. Or even going back to my high school years, 2011, Houston Memorial. They made it to the state semis. And that was kind of a Cinderella run team.
And I'll tell you the only way to get this done, because 6A needs to split like 5A is. If they were to do that, then we're probably not. It changes the outcome and the journey for a lot of teams.
And you're just saying split before the season.
Split before the season, like split. 5A Division 1, 5A Division 2, just like everybody else does. And I get why they don't, because there is such a disparity of attendance in all of 6A. Right. You have Fort Bend ISD and some smaller schools that got 2,300. Right. That could very be a big 5A. But you're 6A because you're 2,300 going against Allen. Right. So let's say you have Fort Bend ISD, and I'm using them as an example because they're so close. You have one school that's 2,400, and you're the biggest school in there. So you're going to go 6A Division 1 against.
That's tough.
Against an Allen that's also 6,000, but you're 6A Division 1. Come on, man. Come on. So I mean, I think either you need to go 6A Division 1 versus 2, right? But then how do you do that? Because where do you stick to schools that are 4,000 when you think a school from Houston is going to be realigned with a school from Dallas? That ain't going to happen either, So I don't know. What a mess. Shout out to the UIL for trying to figure that out, right? They get paid a lot of money for that, I think.
Right.
So
I do think it's interesting, just on a side note, that region 2 is,
sure goes for the onside
kick.
They
got it.
Nice.
Got it.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
There's a flag.
I think he touched it early, man.
Well, also, I don't know if it was right, but the play clock had gone all the way down.
Could be that too.
It had gone all the way down before they kicked it, so I don't know if that was something with the broadcast or what, but obviously a flag thrown.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this: Carlos Lynn, a man could cook. They touched him.
Contact
did not go
illegal
10.
touching.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I like to say in my job, if it wasn't for bad luck, we wouldn't have any luck at all. It's like it's kind of. I think that's how he's feeling.
That's definitely bad luck.
Yep.
Do you like this play call? Do you like the choice of
You have nothing to lose.
You have nothing to lose.
At this point, you guys just do whatever you can and just go. I mean, not much is going your way, but if you can start the half right here with the ball, that'd be a big momentum push for your team.
That was the perfect play call. Bad luck right there.
Right. Yeah, if it wasn't for bad luck, wouldn't have any luck at all.
It didn't seem like Katy was ready for it at all.
Right.
No, because it's not traditional.
Right.
Not traditional.
But like you guys said, down 24-0 in the way that Katy has scored those 24 points, you've got nothing to lose at this point.
You got to find a way.
Yeah. You've got to steal that momentum for your team.
Right.
Well, I think one of the reasons why me and David went with Cedar Hill was I felt like Cedar Hill had a little bit tougher path to get to this game than Katy did.
Yep. They had faced that adversity.
Yeah, they beat Denton Geyer, who made it to the state championship last year. Even in the regionals, they faced Rockwall Heath, who has a really good team. They beat them in overtime, who beat a really good Bridgeland team in this second or third round of the playoffs.
Tomball Memorial too, right?
Yeah, Tomball Memorial too, who had a great year. So
they wouldn't have gotten it even if he hadn't touched it because there was an illegal formation.
Oh,
come on, man!
So,
is that the unbalanced? Is that what the illegal formation is?
I mean, it probably had more than 6 on one side of the ball because you're gonna have 6 or 4.
Right.
Yeah.
now Katy gets the ball at midfield,
and
yikes!
they're just gonna do what they do.
Start off with power play right there. Just start
Why not?
I mean, if you're Cedar Hill, I know it's easier said than done, but you probably want to take away the run from Katy. But how do you do that? I think you mentioned that the linemen are almost going too far upfield. Yeah. What
you want to stack the box as much as you can. You want to. They're balanced. They'll go strong. They'll go weak. But you want to play run. You want to get your guys in the box. I mean, you can't try to outnumber them in the box. But again, not forgetting about the pass. Playing disciplined defense, not forgetting about the pass. But again, like I said, right here, they're running counter again, and
he's not getting touched till 4 yards down the field.
Exactly. So you have to have, which is critical, is you have to have your linebackers reading those keys. You got guards and tackles pulling. Those linebackers have to be there as well.
That's right.
Otherwise, you're going to be outnumbered. Yeah.
I mean, you got big number 76 coming around, and you should have handed him the ball. He didn't touch nobody. I'm pretty sure they'll be like, and then it's 3rd and 3, right? So I mean, they're rolling.
You got a chance,
right
but you got a chance.
Yeah.
You can get them off the field right now.
Exactly. Yeah. It kind of again trying to get that momentum.
But they're still playing a 9, and it looks like a 2-eye right there underneath that guard. I mean, they're just coming right at
action.
Play action. Big play.
And pass interference.
Pass interference on defense. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
I think I'm not sure what they're doing defensively. I haven't studied Cedar Hill enough, but Katy's also seeing something strong because they are running a lot of stuff to the tight end side. Yeah. So they're probably seeing 2 open gaps or a gap not being filled by somebody.
You had a 9 right there. Yeah, there's just 2 open gaps. Yeah, looks like it's going to be holding on defense.
Oh.
Had his hand around his hip. Yep, pass interference. Yeah, big third down because he had an incompletion on that play. Now you go 1st and 10, and here they go.
And moving the ball 15
I'm going to
more
predict
yards
some sort of power to the tight end side.
Right.
That's a bold prediction.
What's going on
Very
on
bold
the limb there, Coach.
Watch it be a stretch week, but this game could get out of hand hurry if it goes up 31-0. Yeah. This is probably worst case scenario for them.
Yes.
Unless they're right on schedule, that clock is running, and they're huddling, and hey.
They're lined up a little better this time.
Counter again.
Yep. But to the tight end.
Yeah.
You see?
Yep.
Right. Go where the extra blocks are.
Mm-hmm. Shoot, I think Katy's one of their better tight ends. The best tight end's not even playing right now, right? The Garza kid going to Texas A&M.
He's there.
So, you think about that. If he was out there, holy moly.
Right.
I think on that last pass, the Katy quarterback, that's his 7th. His only 7th pass of the game. So that's why I think it's important to take away the run. But like I said, easier said than done.
Right.
Trying to do it. But a little different formation here than what. Yeah. No, they brought the tight end in.
There's power right there. Does a
Nice
great
job.
job.
Good stop.
He got off that block. That's a good job, but that dude is a tackle. Number 50. Yeah. And like I said, right there, they were a little bit better. They had a 3 technique there to the 9 size. So they had a defensive line. What that means, they had a defensive lineman in the B gap and the end in a D gap.
He does a great job spinning out right there.
Yes. Yep.
So, again, a 3rd down.
3rd down.
So, Cedar Hill just desperate to get off the field right now. Yep. So, 3rd and 5.
I mean, based off the field goal kicker from earlier, it looks like either way they're coming out with points.
Yeah.
Here.
There's your play action.
And he's wide open.
Opening the flat.
And that's tough with that play action, especially under center, which you don't get in a gun. You can't put your back to the defense in the gun. You can, but it looks weird. But coming out, making it all look the same, that's really, really tough. Yeah. And as long as the linebackers are peeking in the backfield and they're gone, right?
He's running across the field. He's supposed to be in the flat.
Yeah, uh-oh. And so
just such an effective ball fake.
Yeah. I know people give him it's a boring offense and stuff, but man, it is super effective and it's super explosive. And I actually really, really enjoy watching them guys play. I like watching any good offense play.
When this offense is run like anything, like a triple option, like anything, when it's run to its perfect effectiveness.
Yep.
It's a lot of it's just really beautiful to watch.
They're unbalanced there a little bit. I don't know if you saw that. They're unbalanced there.
Yep.
They're probably getting them over and
Brought the receiver over.
Yep. So
Create an extra gap.
oops, here it comes.
I'm Sparky said, imagine if Katy had their 5-star playing. Is he talking about Fernando Garza?
Probably.
Probably have
I don't
to
know if he's a 5-star.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I see 5-star offensive linemen up there.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
they're getting after him. I'm really impressed with 76. He's moving pretty good.
Just look at the clock tick.
Yeah.
You're already halfway through the third quarter already. It's just perfectly what Katy wants to do.
Well, at least that means mercifully for us, this
Pass.
the beat down may not be forever.
And if you look at it, the comparisons, look at the way Alabama used to play when they were more run game oriented, when they were more, just probably about 5 to 8 years ago. I mean, this is what Katy's doing. They're playing great defense. They're running the ball, being very, very physical up front, and with their play action off of it. This is what the older Nick Saban's Alabama.
We've got a question here in the chat, very coach question. Are you saying Katy is playing a 2-eye and 9 to the tight end, nothing else strong?
No, we were talking
3.
about Cedar Hill.
Cedar Hill's
Hill's
Cedar
defense.
Hill.
That's why Katy was running to the tight end side because we feel like Cedar Hill might be a little bit we call misaligned and giving up 2 gaps to the strong side to the tight end.
Right.
And so that's why they kept hammering them there.
Seems like this half they've corrected. They've put that 3 technique to that tight end side with the defensive end and the 9 technique outside the tight end. So they've made that little correction right there.
See, we can't.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
I don't know this jargon. They got to stop.
Yes.
4th down.
Hold them to a field goal.
I'm
See, again, small victory. That's great for Cedar Hill. You go
Right,
to the
yeah.
sideline right now.
Any amount of momentum.
Yes.
At this point, you're still down 4 scores. You're not down 5 scores, which can matter. I mean, if you're Cedar Hill, if you go down and score, and let's say you can finally create a turnover, then you feel like you might be able to get back in this ballgame. Because there's still a lot of game left with how explosive that Cedar Hill offense is.
It's not put away. I mean,
But that's the thing. Cedar Hill's defense has shown no sign of slowing Katy down. Yes,
Right.
it's a field goal, but
Right.
Katy's still
Well, and that one drive there took 4.5 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, we're at 7:30
if
right
they go 3 and out here on this drive, this game might be over.
Yeah.
If you think about it, has Katy punted the ball yet this game? I don't think so.
I don't think they have.
I think, they just got stopped by the clock in the second half, I think.
No, Katy has punted.
They punted
have
once,
punted.
right?
It was the first possession of the game.
Wow, so-
Let's see. Here we go. Ready?
Malik
did
Silla
they-
is
We
the
got,
injured 5-star D end, apparently.
Third down conversions, 6 of 8 for Katy. So, and I think
Yeah, but
they
they've-
scored that one time. So, I think they
4th
put it
down.
on.
Yeah, Katy has a 5-star DN. The
Malik
Vibe guys would know about that, right?
Silla. Well, where's Matt Malatesta?
Where's Matt Malatesta?
Can we get him to call in?
Yeah, he probably at the game. To be honest with you, in his Katy red. You know what I'm saying?
It's either that or he's on the golf course.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he might,
Sorry,
but he's
Matt.
still he's got his Katy underwear on. I can promise you that. Tell him I said that. He might have that Woodlands hat on, but he's got Katy underwear on.
So it looks like 4-star.
4-star. I mean, just predict
all.
him
It's-
going
he's only a
What-
4.
what
Yeah,
year-
he's only a
what year
4.
is he?
He's only a 4.
What is he? 2021?
2022.
22.
Oh, the rich get richer, man. How awesome!
Currently holds offers from Alabama, A&M, Arkansas, Auburn, Baylor, all the usual suspects.
Anybody in the
says-
market for a good defensive end?
It says 24 plus.
Yeah, he's pretty
offers,
good.
so
Yes. He's
or
pretty
32
good.
total offers. No big deal. Probably all.
That's all?
Yeah, that's it.
It's a couple.
That's
but I mean,
32 more than me.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, there's great players, great coaches at Katy. The system is set up perfectly for them, tradition.
Right.
I mean, they do things I think the coaching staff probably does things that other programs and stuff aren't willing to do because it's already ingrained in their tradition, you know? And so,
I mean, they grow up
goes
as
back to
elementary
culture, which
schools.
y'all are talking about.
Yeah.
They grow up their whole lives wanting to be Katy Tigers.
Right.
and people move to Katy to go to Katy High School. Make no mistake, you know? So I'm going to say, winning recruits itself, right? So if you want to come, if I'm looking for a house, I got a chance to go to Katy. Well, by God, I'm going to be looking, right? I can't afford it, right? But no, they're a great example. I mean, it's a testament to Coach Joseph and his staff. They do a great job.
They do.
And they got some really, really good players, but I think the coaches do a great job as well.
Yes, sir.
Way to represent the Houston area. Get us a win.
Got to win.
Get us a
Gotta
win.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's right. It doesn't look like DFW is going to sweep the 5 and 6A.
Not this time.
Not yet. I mean, we'll still see TBD. We're based in Houston, Texas for all the 105 people who are currently watching right now.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
That's
Thank
what I'm
you.
talking about.
Scott,
It's all for James Williams, man.
James
Shout
Williams,
out.
Marshall head football coach who played in this game at the 5A level the last 2 years, has joined us today. And then Coach Shaun McDowell at Foster, who
watched the game.
will be playing.
Who will be playing and will be on the field.
Who watched the games.
That's a good question. I'd say you're good friends. Did he hook you up with some field passes?
No, I don't play. I don't mess with guys like that. I just make sure that when the game was on and James was playing, I was watching because we support coaches too. So I want to make sure that I'm gonna watch my boy any chance I get.
Absolutely, same here. Same here.
Big fan.
Sean was right there. What year was it? Temple semifinals?
Yeah, Temple semifinals, San Marcos 2016. Had a chance and lost it, and that was tough because we probably played about 5 complete games that year because it was blowouts. CD had like 98 catches for 2,000 plus yards and 33 touchdowns and the entire year. And that was a great year.
Yeah.
Speaking of San Marcos, that's a nice stadium.
Oh man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I know
they gonna run the
Spavital and them
ball?
are going to get it turned around there.
Cedar Hill
but man,
start.
they just got to take recruits to that river on campus and people will sign up. But beautiful stadium. I love
Cedar
that
Hill
area.
starts this drive with a run and play 5 yards, just positive yards, just see what they can do. Maybe try to run it again. Yeah. There it is. First down. There we
another
go.
run.
First. Good job.
Yeah.
That's the first. That might have doubled their offense.
might
Right
have.
there.
Yes.
Or close to
Great
it.
job. That's about 15-yard run. It's
So-
like fold, inside fold.
Jabron Lames, he asked if Cedar Hill quarterback is overrated or is this defense just overwhelming?
You give credit to that defense. That they do a great job.
They've
over
done
there.
a great job.
Great job. Yeah. No, he's definitely a quality player.
And I feel like anytime you want to look, especially in a state championship game, and say, oh, okay, well, that player played really bad, I think you have to look at the other side, too, and acknowledge that maybe there's a reason.
Fumble.
No.
That quarterback there didn't fumble that ball.
They picked it up. Touchdown, Katy.
My goodness.
It didn't like he gave much effort to stop it, the quarterback at that time.
Holy
Wow.
Oh,
That was
touchdown,
number
Katy.
I don't know
Hamilton
enough about that
McMartin.
quarterback.
You want to talk about an overwhelming defense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
defense
again,
right
if
there.
you don't know it and you don't know the intricacies of it, how they're going to adjust to it, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
It is tough. Even if you do know it, it's still tough.
Right, yeah.
So,
You can
yeah.
I mean, call the right plays
Yeah.
all day, but they got to get executed.
Ooh, hand right on the ball.
Yep.
That's a great tackle. First guy made the tackle. Second guy punched the ball.
way to scoop and score right there.
I think you said yesterday, Coach McDowell, sometimes you literally just have the ball has to bounce your way. I think that's a good example of that. The ball literally was just right there, and he was able to scoop and score.
I think he also picked off the pass earlier, too.
Did he?
Wow.
24, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think you get to this point, just to get to this game, you got to have some like a good old fashioned luck. I mean, talked about that with Crosby, where that kid fumbled that ball going into the end zone at Liberty Hill. I mean, look at the game's out of hand, but look at that kind of stuff. Like it's going your way. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, hey, you need to go buy some lottery tickets tonight. You know what I mean? Why not? Right? Why not? Just try get it, baby. Let's go to work. So I mean, it is. I mean, golly, I can't wait for that happens to me. Right? I can't wait.
Let's talk about, hey, this is luck. Let's go buy some line tickets. Let's talk about Taps for a second. I don't know if y'all saw the Regents versus, I think, it was a Dallas team, Dallas Christian maybe, for the championship.
Dallas Christian.
Regents got a walk-off pick six to win the championship.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, it was a tie game, and they got a walk-off.
Ran it back with, there was like 7 seconds on the clock or whatever, but they picked it and ran it as the clock ran down and stepped into the end zone as
Did you
clock
see
hit
that?
zero.
More impressive was the that Georgia game. You see that for the state championship in Georgia where they had the onside kick it, and then they kicked it onside kick like twice, and then they come back and in the overtime for a pick six gone the other way, or even the Tulsa Bowl game like that. That was crazy too. I mean, very similar to that, and so. I love luck, lady momentum,
Lady luck's on your side.
lady luck and lady momentum.
You love it until
They are
she,
very cross, boy. They
until
don't
she
like you. They
strikes
hate
the
you,
other
boy.
side, exactly.
Yeah.
So we got a shout out to James Williams from Arthur Smith. He moved to Pearland 7 years ago and just so happened to be passing Hall Stadium. Marshall is playing Willow Ridge, and he hasn't missed a game since.
Oh,
so
appreciate
shout out
that
to
support.
Arthur Smith. And, we actually got this question a few times is why can't they host the state championship in Houston? Yeah. Kind of talked about it yesterday. We don't really know why. We have our suspicions. But the UIL has decided to always play at least in AT&T Stadium for the